Are we ripping?
We're ripping now. All that was off the record. Now we're on the record. Anthony Napolitan. Could go over your intro all day, but to me, Ronnie Napolitan is like a brother of mine. So technically, you're like a brother of mine.
It's like we're related.
It's like we're related.
What's funny about that too is early in Dennis and I's like, I guess, contest careers, he and I were getting confused a lot because we both had blonde hair, and I think we both had yellow bikes.
We had yellow bikes and blonde hairs.
Dude, people would come up to me at contests and be like, "Hey, are you that dude?" Because I think we were both doing 3 double whips at the time too.
Yep.
And "Hey, were you that dude at this contest?" I'm like, "Nah, I've never even been to that like city before, you know." And like it was happening all the time. I'm like, "Who is this dude?" And it's
pretty crazy because
lo and behold,
that might have been like 15, 20 years ago, and like.
Yeah, totally.
There was only a handful of people doing 3 double whips. And
I know, right?
And now it's like, you know, kids listening are like, yellow bike, 3 double whips. That's could be anybody.
Could be anyone. Yeah,
literally.
Yeah, back
3 double whip was a big trick back then.
Back then it was like, I mean, doing them probably consistently and frequently. It was probably me and you, Darden, and Mike Laird.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Mike Laird won a Do Tour.
Best trick.
Best trick, because how they do it after every event. It's like skateboarders and BMX guys and dirt bike riders, they were all bunched into this one award. And like BMX, honestly, I think won most of them to be real about it. But Laird won that with 3 double whip one time.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was the first
year. Things have evolved.
I know, right? Yeah. I think that was 05 because that was the first year Do Tour. So it's
crazy though, because you go back and watch some of the dudes' runs like in the finals of Do Tour, and like the shit people were doing is still like, you know, top level, like it could compete right now, but it's just like the foam pit tricks and resi stuff is like taken to like some other level.
Everything,
like a 3 double whip.
Everything
like,
not surrounding the box is still gnarly, and then they get to the box jump and they're like, it is crazy how it's evolved.
Because there was only one foam pit here and one foam pit here. It wasn't like now. It's like training facilities and most
anyone can have a foam pit or a resi now, or an airbag or whatever. Yeah, the airbags have definitely played a big.
San Diego officially has an airbag as of like 2 weeks ago, the first time ever. So
yeah.
Never had a foam pit, a resi.
No, we're the last of the scenes to ever do it. Maybe
like Claremont get one.
Claremont got one.
Sick.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, shout out to Claremont Skate Park for doing that. Austin, Texas probably still doesn't have one. They're keeping it real raw.
Maybe. Yeah, I was trying to think.
Yeah, they might not have one.
9th Street.
My
roommate
and I bought an airbag landing. We actually stored out at our buddy's house in Riverside. We just drive out there and ride the airbag. I used to ride it in my cul-de-sac in Costa Mesa. I would had a wooden lip that me and John Pova built together, and I built it so it could almost kind of fold up in a sense. But yeah, I just wheel it out into the cul-de-sac and have a session like whenever I wanted to.
Nice.
So how does that go though? Like if you eat shit on the airbag and tumble into the street,
it's gonna hurt still.
Yeah, it's kind of like, can't you just get just as broke off?
I know. So
how far does the airbag go like after the landing?
Mine's actually pretty short. But in all honesty, when I bought the airbag, I was like, I'm not trying to learn anything like progressively outside of like a foam pit. I just wanted the airbag to stay dialed for contest stuff. So
that makes sense.
I had better odds of not landing on the asphalt. Than if I was like
you weren't outside
stuff.
of your comfort zone.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's pretty cool though.
Keeping it warm.
But now, so when I bought that, it was like I bought it end of 2019, and I bought it from Todd Main at DD Airbags or whatever, and I did like a custom dimensions on it because I just wanted a bigger one. I wanted it wider, wanted it taller, so that it could almost emulate a dirt jump. You know what I mean? But at the time, it wasn't. I don't think it was really in anyone's minds to build the runouts long.
That's the first thing I think of.
Yeah.
Like you're just
so
getting balance and land on
when
asphalt.
You see airbags or custom airbags, the runouts are forever long. Yeah. So I kind of blew it on that.
How much does one of those cost? Landings.
Dude, I don't know. They probably went up in cost.
Probably.
You know, Todd gave me a pretty good deal on mine.
But do you know what they actually costed like at the time?
I think
that sounds so fun to be able to like, if you don't have a big jump around your area, to just buy the landing and build a lip, and you got yourself a sick jump.
Yeah. I mean, I spent like $150 in wood building the lip, I think, because it's a skinny one. It's like 4 feet wide, maybe 3 feet wide. It is, and it's like
it's like $3,000 now.
Probably, yeah.
No. Yeah, it's crazy because I went and filmed that Connor Stitt kid,
Mm-hmm.
like 4 years ago, or maybe three years ago, when he was trying the double flip, and it was like, they just wheeled it down from their house and then took it to a park, and there was all these kids jumping this like 4 or 5 foot airbag.
Totally.
He got melted, and it was like he was like 7 or 8 or something at the time, and it was like hard to watch.
Dang.
And I was like, I don't like.
So you
this.
can just wheel the landing wherever you want.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, I
That's
think maybe they drove it or they put it on a skateboard or
People
something.
would be so hyped on that.
They
if
come
you brought
in
it to
these
the park
big
down the
bags
street.
when they ship them. So, like after a session, we'll let all the air out and roll them up really tight, like a group effort of like 3 or 4 people. Put it back in the bag, and then I have a dolly that I got from like Harbor Freight, and I just ratchet strap it to the dolly, and I can wheel that landing wherever the hell I want to take it. You know
And it
what I
doesn't
mean?
have any metal framing or nothing.
No,
No.
It's just
the
a
airbag, the landing.
So it's just a plastic bag and a compressor.
It's
It's
funny.
not even a compressor; it's just a blower.
It's like when you buy
You know what I mean?
Comes with it?
like a
Yeah,
air
you
mattress.
just plug it in and it blows it the whole time.
I want to get one of these.
The-
That sounds fun.
Yeah, I had a funny vision of like you know how you do the party rentals, like the jump house.
Yeah,
and
that's
you're like,
exactly
that's like
what
on,
it is.
That's on the thing,
Yeah.
and you're like, do you want the 8-foot airbag, or can I bring it? To
Totally.
Buy one and rent it out and pay for it in a couple weekends.
Get the jump
Totally.
house and the airbag for the extreme airbag option.
Damn,
I
what
know,
a
we were-
business plan.
so-
Like make kids' birthday parties as sick as possible.
Yeah, so me and my roommate Luke, the fit model, who I don't know if you've ever met him before,
Yeah.
but
Good at running with a camera.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, you've seen him at Wetlands charging it. We
You might
went
have,
in
like,
together
the best Instagram
on
name,
the
too. You're like,
airbag.
who is this guy? The fit model?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We went in together on the airbag, and we threw around couple different ideas, like starting a show team and doing it that way, or even what you guys were just talking about, like party rentals, or like
Did it take
collab
off?
with Claremont is one of the things that we thought about. Like we could take the airbag down to Claremont and hold like a clinic at
Yeah.
Claremont.
Yeah.
You know, anyone. The only problem with it was like we just built the airbag. It's an 8-foot tall landing. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So-
You got to get a lot.
You
of
took it
speed.
out of a lot of kids'
Yeah, so-
range of
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's a slide.
Yeah, when we
it's not a
started
jump
talking
anymore.
about like doing, potentially a collab at Claremont, which never ever went anywhere, is just on the idea board. We were like, yeah, we'll just buy a different airbag, like a smaller one.
Yeah.
But I think mine, the custom one, it was, I want to say at the time it was just under like 4K. So
That's pretty expensive, but
yeah,
if we do the party rental thing, we pay it off in
Totally.
a couple years.
I mean, even just staying brushed up enough to stay top 5, top
Yeah,
10,
yeah.
like it's
Yeah, that's what you
it'll
were
pay
thinking.
itself
There you
off.
go.
Yeah, that's
There you go.
that's where my head was. So.
It'll keep me in like the top 35 at those Toyota triple contests. Like,
yeah,
"Fuck,
exactly.
this is not paying itself off.
I guess the first thing we should talk about, and I know you've discussed this a few times, 5 years of the front flip on the fence.
Yes, yeah.
The clip is still wild.
My girl
is still
just
wild.
was watching that on her Instagram. And she was like, what the hell is this? It came up on her popular page. Like,
Yeah.
that's how viral that video is
Yeah.
still going.
And it honestly, it still blows my mind how many people one haven't seen it, and maybe also the fact that people, every time I post it, people are like, oh my god, I didn't realize that was you.
Oh,
And they're
really?
connecting those dots. But yeah, it's been 5 years, so that was really really wild time in my life for a second. And then what was the other wild thing about it? Like so when I first posted it, or I licensed it.
Yeah,
First
I
of all.
wanted to get to
Yeah.
that because it happened and then you waited weeks to post
I
it.
did,
right?
yeah. And no one knew about it until it went live or whatever. So, I went ahead and licensed it because I knew it was going to be one of those things,
Yeah, yeah.
And if it wasn't, then so be it. But I just wanted to take the steps and license it. And so I did that. And the first day across different like non-endemic media brands, it had like over 100 million views and that was just like what I could account for. Like it was on Sports Center, it was on Unilad, it was on this, it was all random things across the board,
Like how much does Sports Center pay for that clip?
I don't know like specific numbers. I'd have to go like log into my licensing,
We can
the
wait.
website,
We'll
and
wait.
like figure that out.
No.
But I have no idea, to be honest.
Yeah,
a lot
the
of
concept of that is crazy. Like imagine like I'm like, all right, Dennis, like here's $40. Let me post that clip, like that
Yeah.
type of thing, because that's the ecosystem outside of BMX. And
Yep.
sometimes people don't get that because even like at the beginning days of Instagram, I would personally message everybody and be like, hey, is it okay if we can post this? Like in
Right,
this
yeah,
day
yeah.
and age, I just go, repost app, you know, like
Yeah.
hashtag ourbmx,
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
and effectively steal it. And like a couple of, you know, there's a couple of pros that were like, hey, can you let my shit breathe? You know, like they
Which
want to
makes
own,
sense
they
a
want to
little
own it for a little bit. And I
Totally,
like,
yeah.
and that's fine. Like I totally get
Yeah.
that concept. But
Yeah.
the idea of paying for that
Yeah.
is even crazier.
It's pretty wild.
So,
yeah.
so you monetized that video before you posted it, and
Mm-hmm.
so all that video's money, the revenue, always goes back to you.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I actually
Smart
so
man.
I work with
Yeah,
this
look at this
I
guy.
work with
Man.
this brand called Jukin Media. So I'm sure you've heard of them
Yeah,
before,
yeah.
seen their name around. And that's who, like, believe it or not, I have a lot of I've talked about this a couple times on other podcasts.
Just
and
go
real
for
life
it
with
because
people.
I mean we have
Yeah.
we have a different audience.
True.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't going
don't
to
have
not
an
talk
audience.
about it. I was gonna not talk about it.
Say whatever you want.
But a lot of BMX riders hit me up and ask me all kinds of questions, and I'm more than happy to help because I want to help people make money on whatever it is they're risking their life
Yeah.
on, or whatever the bottom line of the clip is. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But yeah, it was actually a simple process. Like I knew I kind of hit that moment when I landed on that fence. Like people are like, why didn't you curse? And in my head, I'm like, because I knew, like, when time stood
Wow.
still and I was like, and I knew the fence was under me and I came around and I saw it, at that moment, time froze.
And you're like,
My eyes
these
connected the
spikes
dots.
are gonna make me money.
My eyes connected the dots, and I literally saw that my thighs were going to land between the spindles.
That's crazy.
And as soon as I hit, and like I like, the momentum still carried me forward. Like the spike came to my sternum, so I actually had a bruise like on my
Damn,
sternum
dude.
for like a couple days because it was just like, dude, it was real soft,
Yeah.
but it was just enough, you know. But in that moment, I was like, this is gonna go nuts. So I would literally,
Hell yeah.
I said, what the heck? I was like, what in the heck? And I looked back at Nathan's sights.
And he's like, "Oh my
And I was
golly!"
gonna
Sounds
drop
like you guys
an
like
F-
at a Christian
Yeah,
school or something.
right?
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
drop an F-bomb, and then a split-second decision, I just said, heck.
yeah. So you like, I remember I've talked to you about this before, and you are saying that you actually kind of came around, saw the spikes, had enough awareness to put the legs, like people are like, how'd you get so lucky? But you actually moved your legs into those slots.
I was pretty much right where I needed to be. Like looking down on it, I was right where I needed to be. I don't even think I moved my legs, to be honest. Like I just knew that
You got lucky.
Yeah, I got lucky, and I
Okay.
knew where I was, like total air awareness. I knew right when I left the lip that I wasn't going to make it over.
Oh my god, you got.
But I knew-
So you were thinking maybe shish kebab at one point.
Well,
probably.
I knew if I let go, it wasn't going to be good. I don't know how many front flips you've done or tried or whatever, Dennis, but
back in the day,
I know, like, if you let go of the bike, your body's going to speed up. It happens on threes too.
Yeah.
Like if you do a 3 and bail,
Yeah.
like your body's really doing a 720 because
So you go off the lip and you know you're not making it.
Yeah.
So what was holding on the bike helping with?
to not make me over rotate body wise
Oh,
and
go-
just chest
oh.
right through the things, you know?
Oh.
Because if I were to let go, my body rotation is
Yeah.
going to speed up, and I'm literally going to chest plant the top of the fence. So I held on to wait so that when I came around, I could see where I was at. And then when I realized where I was at, I was like, I'm good. And then boop, right on the fence.
We did this.
And there it is.
Dude,
Dude, they are their spikes are bigger than I remember.
you're such a calculated guy too. So it is like you almost are, until you turn around. I know your style, like that could be a shadow of you, and I know it's you. But it doesn't seem like something you would get yourself into because you're so calculated.
Exactly. It's
Like,
it's
what
actually
happened?
funny
How did
you
it
mentioned
go
that.
far from how you normally do everything perfect?
It's actually funny you mentioned
You
that.
did it perfect
because-
though.
You did,
Right, I
You know
did.
what?
I landed
And
on
in
the
fucking
fence
sense, you're still
better than
recalculating.
pulling it.
It actually,
Oh,
yeah.
It looks like it goes up your
I mean,
ass
honestly,
too. That's why it's so viral because
had-
it really looks just like
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Had
Oh
I-
my god,
right,
you
yeah.
could have gone like on
Yeah,
their ass.
and look
How do
how
you never think
look,
of that? That's what
I
it
don't
looks
know.
and look how tall the spikes are.
Yeah.
They're literally sternum height.
That's death.
So if that like went
Over rotation could have been dead.
up my ass,
Up
it
your ass would have been dead.
Dead,
Why
dead.
have I
got-
never thought of
What
that?
did you think of?
I just thought of just how fucking insane it was. I wasn't thinking like of how every single bad thing that could have happened.
Up the ass.
Dude, you could. Yeah. Oh my god.
I know, right?
And I never thought about the over rotation thing.
Because if it's
Yeah.
if it's big enough for your two thighs to go through, it's big enough for your one spike to go up your ass,
little-
and
yeah.
your thighs to go through on the other side.
Totally, yeah.
Oh my god.
So, Dennis, what was your? You would
sorry,
ask me
I
something.
derailed you.
How
like I'm sure this
the
was going to be the
calculation
banger
of
for
it.
your video part. Like this is
It
something
was,
really
yeah.
gnarly for
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Like
that's
this is
what it was
gnarly in
supposed to be
general.
This is
for.
gnarly for any. Yeah.
Anyone, that's a banger. But for you, it's just so like not your style to come up
Yeah.
that short on something.
So the issue with
You're not
the
a
bowl
hugger.
was, Dennis, you and I were there when Jeff Slats like jumped over the fence
Yeah.
for the market video.
Yeah, you threed it.
Yeah, I threed over it. So, but his line was through the bowl corner, and for front flips.
Did he do that?
and he
Did he
went
do that
diagonal.
after you did
No,
this?
it's before.
No,
So this was before, okay.
yeah. And he came out of the bowl and diagonally jumped across, not straight over the fence.
Kind of alley-ooped it a little bit.
Yeah. So for front flips, and for me particularly, like here's a good comparison. Like
Oh my
you've seen me do front flips going
How do
straight.
you make it so
and
it
you've
never
seen
stops?
Daniel Dare's do
I don't
front
know,
flips
it's
going
just
straight,
desktop.
right? Like Daniel Dare's front flips are like this.
Yeah, he
go
gets. They
all
look
crazy,
awesome.
right?
I think they look sick.
Right,
Yeah.
but his style is carving across the spine to do them.
yeah.
Okay.
And my style is just going straight.
Mhm.
So ripping the bowl corner and coming out of it and getting lined straight back up with the quarter wasn't
An option.
an option.
Yeah.
I had 2 or 3 different lines that I literally was like, okay, Nathan, I'm going to do these lines and you tell me which one you think's faster, because I can't tell, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like they both feel the same. So he was like, honestly, he's like, I think if you just come around the bowl fast and just drop in and get a really good pump, you'll be good. I was like, okay. So I had to have done 10, 15 drops until I felt, I was like, just keep recording no matter what happens. Like I don't know which one I'm going to go on. Whichever one I feel is like I get the super pump and the juice up the roller, I'm going, you know? And that was the one that I thought it was. And to be honest, looking back on it, if I could go back, like literally flash right now into that moment in the past and be rolling in, all I needed was a tiny little push through, and my back would have literally like rolled
Over it.
almost over top of it.
Push through what on the front flip?
Yeah. When I did the fronty,
You popped
I
straight
just
up.
wasn't like I gave it this tiniest little bit of pop, and I had checked out the coping too to see what it was like beforehand, but I could never imagine the actual
my
pop
Yeah.
it was going to give
It's
me.
a steep quarter for people that haven't been to that.
Right.
That's a quarter that you air. Like
yeah,
yeah,
totally.
It's not,
Yeah. So I just really wasn't anticipating like how bad the coping was actually going to.
Yeah, keep
Me
it.
Did
back.
you jump the fence first?
No, I didn't jump it. I figured
Very uncalculated for you. This
Yeah.
whole
it is.
thing, this whole
and
day.
I have a reasoning
a little
for that
Cindy,
too.
a little
The-
Cindy.
The,
Going
the
on, man.
reasoning, like I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go big or go home kind of deal. But the whole reason I didn't jump it straight first is because I knew the landing was already going to be rough.
Yeah.
And I'm not a street rider and I'm not built for that type of stuff. So I knew that the best way that I was ever going to land on the other side of that fence, there's like a very small grass landing there. It's not much,
Yeah,
but
it's not
it's
much.
enough to land into.
You just want to do that once.
Yeah, I knew if I just got it first go, and when I would come around, it was going to be the less amount of like pressure on my body, because I'm going to land back wheel in the grass, and most of the inertia and momentum and forces are going to kind of keep rotating. I'll just basically flick them off me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's crazy because that one, the one we were just watching, was the one you posted the 4-year anniversary, and it has
Okay.
it has 5 million views, 5 million likes.
Oh,
And
that
20,000
views,
comments.
That one has 98 million views on it.
What?
Get your Reels bonus. So it was before Reels bonus.
No,
huh?
no, it was during Reels bonus, and I was like, "This is sick."
Capped.
It was the January one when they or I think they started doing Reels bonus in like December or November or
Yeah.
something. But I was like, "I'm gonna get it!" Like I was so pumped.
Yeah,
you know?
that's sick, dude.
So you did it. You capped it out.
I
Obviously.
did, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I capped that one out,
Yeah,
which was cool.
Makes sense.
But I don't even know.
What
I was gonna
what a
scroll back
clip.
really
one
far.
one for the books. So there's a jam at the bowl this weekend. You gonna show up?
There is.
You gonna fucking do
I'm
it?
gonna go, and I'm just gonna climb on top of the fence and take photos, and then I'm out of there.
Sign some autographs.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna go hang out for sure.
I think Jaden Mooch is gonna go, and he is master of
Yeah.
flipping big
Dude,
stuff.
Yeah.
he is the sickest. I remember
Would
like
you,
going to
would
Woodward.
you pump him up to do it?
Oh my god, if
he
he
was
wanted
down?
to do, I'd give him like a do it, man. High five.
Yeah,
High tens.
That would be sick if someone did it.
That'd
Like,
be sick.
just the most viral clip ever. and
It's one of
someone-
those things that's always been in the
someone
back of my
conquers it.
head. Like I want to, like part of me wants to go back and do it and kind of just try and put everyone's comments about it in the back of my head. You know, I don't know how many comments were on that.
That was 20. It was 19,000.
Yeah.
comments.
So
It was a jam Saturday.
19,000 comments of people like saying weird shit. You know what I mean? Like
this podcast is actually going
demotivating
to drop
stuff,
after
whatever.
the jam, so
yeah,
we could put your
True.
clip of you.
Yeah.
Oh,
There he is.
yeah.
Dude, it's been so cool watching him growing up riding too, because he would go to Woodward Camp a lot in the summers, and you could just see when
It's
he was a
crazy.
little kid riding at Woodward, he had something special about him, you know?
Yeah,
He's so sick.
That's my roommate.
yeah.
I remember
yeah.
when he posted that clip, I was like commenting away on
Fucked.
that thing.
Yeah,
I
it
was
is-
like, this is awesome.
yeah, it is sick.
It's the closest thing to the one you tried. The one you tried
Yeah.
is the most dangerous one ever.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
has death spikes on it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if anyone could do it besides you, it'd be Jaden.
Yeah, it's really just getting the speed for it. And if I wanted to go back and do it, I would probably put a good month or two into like really getting to know
Find the best
Bowl.
line.
that whole bowl. And you know, it's probably that
you
skate
know you can
park's
do it with a little more
probably
speed. So just all you gotta do
Totally,
is find
yeah.
a line with a little more speed.
that skate park's probably one of the most ridden parks for me in all of Southern California. So it's the one I know the most, but I'd really want to get to know it, you know, and find the proper line and get it done. But it is what it is.
All right.
I definitely made more money failing it than, not that money was an issue from the beginning, but like the way things ended up, like me pulling that for like the Ender of Colony, like web edit, probably would have forgot about it.
Would have been
by now.
awesome.
People would have remembered it,
but yeah,
but not whatever you're saying. These numbers are just insane. Like it's probably got to be like 2 billion views at this point or something insane.
yeah.
I don't even know.
Might be the
yeah.
most viewed thing ever.
So if you have, I know,
Out of anything ever.
I
I
know,
mean, it ended up on like Ellen DeGeneres show and like all these, it went all these places, all because though of licensing.
yeah, yeah.
And that's what I tell every BMX rider that calls me or asks me about licensing is they're like, what do you think? Is it sketchy? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you literally have nothing to lose and everything to gain for it. Like they're going to put your clip on a platform that quite frankly, you're not allowed to be in.
Mhm.
Like you need like this is your entry. This is your golden ticket to the platform, right? So submit your clip. If it's sick and it goes viral, like you don't have anything to lose. They're like, oh, what about this? Like, oh, they want to do 50-50. Doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
you're never
100% of
make money
zero
on it.
isn't
Yeah,
very good.
exactly.
So
Again, you're not losing anything. You're still gaining stuff.
that
So,
I know Burns is on that and stuff like that because they have so much wild stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
I can only imagine.
But yeah, it's definitely something to be mindful when you have a clip like
Yeah.
that. You know,
and
like,
especially
so-
like if Sean Burns has like a ton of clips, obviously that are all wild. Like a lot of people make livings off these types of platforms because they have thousands of clips that are just making pennies here
Yeah,
and there.
yeah.
And then all that collectively is like, you know,
Yeah,
you're making
passive
monthly
income.
checks for a few $1,000 or whatever, you know?
Yeah, that's cool. So you
So-
expect? Is it like now that you've posted it? Like when you posted that one a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
did you the check get a little bit bigger for a little bit? Did it like kind of circle around a bit?
It has its waves for sure. And you can see because when I log into my to the dashboard on Jukin, it gives you charts and all kinds of stuff and earning breakdowns and the whole deal. So it definitely goes through waves, and I know I can kind of predict when I'm gonna get like another check because I'll start seeing it and being tagged in it randomly on social media stuff. So when I start to see that, I'm like, okay, it's like something's gonna come in. I never know how much, you know,
It's like
like
Paul Blart checks for Rooftop.
yeah,
My
Yeah, it's
socks
like
are
around-
soaking wet.
Yeah. Oh, because of the carpets.
Are these
I
carpets wet?
peed on the carpets.
You did. What's
Yeah.
up with that?
The way-
My socks are soaking wet, and I'm like, what is going on here?
Sorry.
I was feeling, I'm like,
You
am I-
missed-
it's
you
cold in
missed
here
the-
too, and I'm sweating. I'm thinking I'm sweating, and then I'm like, dude, both of my socks are soaked. Like, what's going on?
Professional podcast.
Did I walk on?
No, you
into
missed
puddles
there
of
was
rain?
carpet cleaners this
yeah.
morning.
The carpet
so
guy
sorry.
actually let me in
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
He's like,
Nice.
"Are you here for the podcast?" And I'm like,
So the
I'm
carpets
like, "Yeah."
are
He's
soaking
like,
wet.
"I'm just the carpet cleaning."
I wasn't
guy."
listening to anything for the last 5 minutes. So I was trying to figure out what's going on. So I'm back. I'm barefooted and
Are
it's
my
cold.
feet leaking?
I was like, I better take these off and get the flu, dude. It feels like I'm like been out in the snow all day and my shoes have been leaking. Freezing cold, wet.
Oh my God.
Wet Odyssey sucks.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what should we talk about? There's so much. I was like, I have on my notes like literally like origin story, like which we don't normally do, but like I feel like Youngstown is such like a interesting place, and like Section 8 was such a crazy place, and you know, it was like literally like parking lot gravel with like the gnarliest ramps in the country at the time, and you had Lou Bickle in one corner. And you know, Chris Doyle and fucking Cuesta.
Anthony had a lot of chapters from like a really like core scene to like Dutour Champ, Woodward days, Southern California.
Yeah, I'm kind of all over the place.
You've just had a lot of chapters, like a lot. You are one of the, like you said, like the whole where'd you come from, how you start kind of thing is kind of boring, but you actually have like pretty damn interesting 5 chapters of your career going on.
Yeah, I feel like I grew up pretty lucky. Like, this is going to be a funny statement. I feel like I got pretty lucky being born in Ohio, right?
Dave Chappelle lives in Ohio, and he says it's the best place ever.
This is true. He loves Ohio.
Loves it,
he lives in like some small town in Ohio outside
can't be
Dayton.
too bad.
Yeah, the Midwest scene for indoor skate parks was just insanely like popular, and it was like you could drive in any direction for an hour or two and be at like one of the best skate parks in the country, you know? I remember when the magazine did indoor skate park poll or whatever, I think Section 8 was like, they were top 5. I just don't remember if they were on the podium or not for indoor parks. But yeah, I mean, Nate Wessel grew up in Cleveland and he just started building all these parks all over the place. And Section 8 ended up being one of those. And it was one of the most gnarliest and progressive parks in the country at the time. I think they probably had one of the biggest box jumps in the country until that park in North Carolina came about where Mira double flipped the box at the CFB or whatever.
Was that Florida or North Carolina?
North Carolina. Okay. I can't remember the name of the park.
Yeah, obviously we all with the crazy vert wall in front of it.
Yeah, exactly. And with that, you know, we had anywhere from 1 to 3 different kinds of Changa worlds up there. Yeah. And then the flow, which was incredible. And, you know, the flow on its own was rad because like dudes like Jamie Bestwick did the Good Times contest. It was just a really popular place to be in the wintertime, you know, and a lot of pros live really close. Woodward Camp and all those guys and the Pittsburgh crews and guys like I remember when Bennett moved to Philly. Because they all used to live in Erie, too. It was like
it's crazy.
Doyle, Bennett, Cesny, Ty Stuyvesant, Biz, Mike Aiken. They all lived in Erie for a long time, too.
It almost seems like how like England is now, and you see like
totally
20 different parks and like
I never
just like
thought of it
in
like
one
that,
area, you know, and it's like they're all so good. And that's how, as a kid, I would look at the Midwest, like, dude, you guys have all the sickest indoor parks.
England's the new Midwest.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
In a sense, we've talked about it a bunch recently because they are, they are.
And I feel like a lot of European countries, like you'll see just these high-end, beautiful indoor skate park training facilities. They just look amazing.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really exist in America too much anymore, besides Woodward's and a few here and there.
Yeah.
But it used to be the Midwest. It started the indoor skate park era, I feel like, or.
How do you?
Was there other ones, or was it just the Midwest at the time that had?
No, I mean like
there were skate parks all over the
you guys had where was the flow at? That was Ohio too, right?
Yeah.
Columbus,
Midwest was killing it with indoor parks.
The flow park was insane. It was just
like a Costco.
Yeah, it was like an Amazon. It was like an Amazon warehouse today. Yeah,
just
like,
filled with ramps.
Yeah,
it was insane. Yeah, the place was huge.
I mean, it makes sense that you would be born from that. You know, like
right. It was a very cool time to be growing up and progressing in BMX. Like, especially riding with dudes like Chris Doyle and in that whole scene. It was like a bunch, you know, sometimes you'd have the Woodward guys come out, be like Kevin Robinson, Chad Kagi. Sometimes Mira was tagged along with them. And like, they'd come out and they'd be doing all the contest tricks. You were like, whoa, this is crazy. You know, you get to see it with your own eyes and it's possible and blah, 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 you know? And then on the other side of the spectrum, you'd have like Doyle and Biz and Cesny and Bennett and Mike Aiken. And they come out and they bring that whole trail style and you know, PA style and the whole deal to the park. And you're just like, whoa, we got like a really good variety of like, I don't know, I guess like aspect of the sport really, you know? So it was cool to ride with them all too, because like we were all pretty friendly kids. I know for me for a fact, like I was not afraid to approach pros and like introduce myself and whatever, because I just idolized them so much. And I just wanted to like be like, yeah, I'm like riding with Chris Doyle or whatever, you know.
I was trying to find Transylvania, but I don't think I can. But this is an interesting one.
Oh, yeah,
on Doyle's podcast. Shout out to Doyle Quitting.
Yes. So another rider by the name of Jay Loychek. He was a local at Section 8 skate park.
Just so we can see it, you know, like I think a lot of people don't know.
Right.
I remember going to
That's
this.
Jay right there.
Okay. I remember going to this park and then looking at the ground and just being like, this thing, the ground is going to fucking chew you up. I've never really ridden ramps like this big.
And I think that's one of the main, the ground is one of the main reasons. I think a lot of us turned out the way we are as riders now, because I generally try to stay off the ground.
Yeah.
And that skate park floor was a very good reason to stay off the ground, because it was literally like a cheese grater.
Yeah. It was like the outdoor at Claremont how it is now.
Whatever skin you lost there, you weren't getting it back.
Yeah.
But like you said, you just get used to it, and it keeps you like not wanting to fall.
Totally.
Like, all my scars are from the Claremont ground.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I never knew that until you just said it, and I've seen this park my whole life, and I did not know it had that ground.
Yeah.
But Ronnie took me to like
it's the craziest.
Some new Section 8 when I went to stay at your guys' mom's house, and it had the ground like that too.
Oh, did it?
I don't know if it was the same building, different ramps or something, but I was like, what the hell is this? It's indoors with the worst ground ever.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like you think it's going to be like nice, smooth cement, and it's got asphalt.
Growing up rough.
Why is that? They just build like a warehouse over the parking lot?
I don't know. I know before this was a skate park, it was like an indoor soccer arena. It wouldn't be much of an arena. I guess it's just an indoor soccer field.
Okay.
But so that was just what was underneath the what do you call that? The fake grass?
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
Oh, the turf.
Yeah, the turf.
Yeah, man, that Section 8 park had everything you needed.
Yeah. And also, too, like, here's an example, like Louisville, Kentucky. It's like 5 hours away.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was like we were traveling around all these different places. What was it? Scrap in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And Four Seasons in Milwaukee.
Still around.
Like,
who did that?
There's
Blair
just
turned
stuff everywhere. But
do you have clips in this video?
Me? Yeah. I have a whole...
There's Sal Wood.
I have like a whole... Yeah, Sal! Sal lives down here.
Yeah. You rode for dirt.
Crazy.
roads,
like when there's like the best ramps.
That's how I actually
best
met Gary Young at Section 8. Gary...
I may have been there.
Youngstown. And
was I there? Was Vic Murphy there?
I don't think I ever met Vic at Section 8. But Gary came to Ohio for whatever reason. He was staying with Sal Wood and Pat Sanders, the Struthers brothers.
Yeah.
And,
what did he do? He used to do did he do double suicides to no touch at all?
No hander lander.
Think about that.
What did he do?
This dude, Pat Sanders, he'd do double bar suicide on the 5-foot box jump, no touch, land no-handed.
That's
imagine just you're going towards the box and you're like, whatever fucking happens.
Yeah, that's like the best box jump trick ever to have on lock.
Yeah, honestly, that
would win a best trick contest. If I was judging that, I'd be like, "You fucking win,
dude!" He wins, right? It's like, everyone just quit riding.
Could have not win.
Everyone just quit.
Like at those big triples contests.
It's like the trick, what the Russian roulette of tricks.
True.
You know, literally.
I think you got more chances of pulling off Russian roulette than that trick.
1 in 6, apparently.
Yeah, this.
I've never participated.
Dude, my
obviously.
homies are gonna be so psyched that you're showing this video right now.
I mean, I wanted to show something. I wanted to show Transylvania because that was in my head. If it's a video part I'm thinking, I did a video
it was all filmed
review
one day at Section 8.
Yeah, and I did a video review, and I don't know if
Let's fast forward to his part.
It's not.
No, it's not this video.
Yeah, we can't find it.
Yeah.
I have the DVD at home. I should have brought. You have a DVD player?
Nightmare era.
Xbox. I need to get one.
Well, I just seeing this footage reminds me of Wide Awake Nightmare.
It is. It's very
same.
Right.
It's the same era. This blue bike.
Yeah,
like
Section 22 trails.
Like I never seen this video.
It was honestly probably filmed around the same time Wide Awake Nightmare was
filmed. This is the Chris Doyle that I was just like idolizing.
Yeah.
Just different footage of him. I think he has.
Dude, he would come to the park and 540 out of that wall ride every day.
That's
Or
crazy.
every time he came to
Yeah.
the park, which was literally 3 times a week. Those guys were probably driving up.
But
Man,
the video part, the Transylvania video part was when I was doing video views for Ride, which also pissed off a lot of people back then. And but I if it's the video that I'm thinking of, I vividly remember Anthony's section is before I knew who he was, and I was like, holy shit, like this guy filmed like a legit video part in one park in what looks like one afternoon, and I like talked about it for like I think a majority of the video review, and it stood out to me so much because the level was like really, really high. And I was like, I think I said, I was like, either he only owns one shirt, or it was filmed in like one day. One schmedium, yeah.
With the system video, you had a few clips in there, and they were like super highlight for me because they were like so new school.
Yeah.
And
Right,
I was like, I've never seen this kid before.
Yeah,
he had a pink bike, I think.
Yeah, that was when I rode for Fly on the flow team.
Yeah,
They,
your clips in there were fucking
I think
went hard.
Kevin Porter and Biz were like the 2 main American riders for Fly then.
That's
and
a
then
sick
they
video.
put
The system
together
video is so dope.
And that was
is a
cool
good video.
because System was from Ohio too. So it was based around DK bicycles. And it was basically their like mail order / distribution company that they had. And yeah, they just did a video with like, because at one point it was like DK guys, Fly guys, and then like I can't remember what other brands were out of there, but they had a handful of brands. So it was like a very eclectic group of riders. So they did the System video, and it was awesome.
Tell me one Lou Bickle story,
Man,
or what's the other guy? The
4th grade.
4th grade, yeah. One combo
Catfish
story.
lived there too. Sorry.
Catfish.
Yeah,
Is from
Catfish is
Youngstown
from
as well,
Youngstown.
yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Cuesta.
Steve Cuesta.
So
And so shout out to Joe Cup and
Steve Luckett.
Steve Luckett.
Yeah,
Also
for-
VW guys.
yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
so-
Absolutely. And I don't know if you follow Steve Luckett at all now,
I think
but
I've seen it.
he's gone from Volkswagens to like old Econoline vans. So he has this Instagram called Bagged Boxes now.
Okay.
And it's just like he has his own that he's done, and it's amazing, but he highlights like different vans of that model and style that are just decked out and dope looking.
That's cool.
So
All right, back to this Bickle
Anyways.
story.
yeah, so Lou so I'll just tell you the first time I laid eyes on Lou Bickle was when I was a young kid and like first started riding the skate park. The first impression I saw of him was him charging the vert wall, and our vert wall was huge. Like I actually don't even know how tall
like
it was,
18
but
or
it was
something.
tall.
Yeah.
It was way up there. And quick transition, a ton of vert on it. This dude was at coping height doing tail whips and not landing them, hucking for hours. He would literally go straight up the vert wall and his body would be above the coping. And he was like, you ever see like when kids are trying to learn tail whips for the first time, they're trying them and the bike's way over their
Yeah.
head and it's everywhere. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you're going to get hurt. That was Lou Bickle.
It's funny because I feel like I was not expecting a bike riding story, but that's good.
Yeah, I mean,
shout out.
that was the first time I had ever seen him, you know? And then
I should get him to give away like a Nora cup or something one year.
I guess another.
That'd be pretty good if we have him just like give away like video.
That would actually be
something.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd be down.
Yeah.
He's a wild dude.
Yeah, I don't even know who he is from him aside from him going on that like
He's a-
props 13.
Yeah, he
hilarious.
ate the light bulb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
FBM Albert Street,
Yeah.
which Albert Street
He's just like a legend in
is a
BMX
name from downtown
character.
Youngstown. So the whole Albert Street movie was named after a street in Youngstown.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
If
What
you
was up
haven't
with
seen-
Steve Cuesta? Was he just like your riding buddy? Because man, his footage too. Every time I saw it, I was like, "This
Dude,
guy is
he's-
amazing."
He's still sick. He rides. He
Oh,
started
he's
his own.
so good. He was so unique.
Yeah.
Like,
He
what-
started his own painting company, paints houses, the whole deal. He named it Questaco, and I feel like it's because Dave had Miraco.
Yeah.
So he kind of like bit on that a little bit, which is really cool. But
King Shitco.
King Shitco, yeah, he has a tattoo on his shoulder. It's like a turd with corn and flies around it. It has a crown, like a Biggie Smalls crown, and it just says
Cuesta
King-
has that.
Yeah, and it just says King Shit and like a Miss America ribbon like draped across the turd.
Why would he? Did he lose a bet?
No, I think that's just. I was like, wait, did he? No, I'm pretty sure that's just what he. That was just him. He was just a funny guy. He did things for like the fun of it, and like basically he likes entertaining people.
Yeah,
you know,
he was such a legend. If you were like from my era, like watching BMX videos at the time, like any footage he had, like any contest,
and
like
he's still
who is that
riding
guy?
Too. There's like a really small skate park in Austintown, which is like my hometown, and there's a really small skate park there that's still open, and it's indoor, so he goes there and rides it. And
did all those guys trip when you started like getting to do tours and doing well, or did you go to Woodward first and get like that kind of dialed before you did do tours? How'd that chapter change go?
The first year they did do tours was 05. I was at Woodward, but I think that was my first year there. So
you went as like a visiting pro, or did you go and like just stay there?
Yeah, I went as a visiting pro, and then trying to remember how it happened. So I went as a visiting pro, and then I rode for Hoffman at the time, and Target was a part of that whole deal. And Kathy McGrath was the team manager for Target at the time, and she went along to do all the Levi stuff.
Yeah,
and
shout out
everything.
to Kathy.
The Levi's chapter too.
Yeah,
that's another
she's the
chapter.
best.
I mean, he's got a lot of chapters.
Mm-hmm. We're only at Woodward now.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Oh man,
he's
we
like
got a long ways to go.
17 right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So I was at Woodward. Anyways, Kathy offered me a job at Woodward. She basically, it was for me to just go there and be what was called a Target rep.
Okay.
So my job was to literally just ride, hang out with the campers. And if I saw a camper do something cool, give them a Target gift card.
What a gig.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So I got paid weekly to do that.
So basically you hung around all day, kids were doing shit, and then just looking at you afterwards and being like...
Did they know you were the Target rep?
Yeah. Like
They sure got
sometimes
around.
at like the... You know, when they meet for all the kids for the first day of the week, they kind of introduce people. So they always want me there. Like, yo, this is Anthony Napolitan. He's a Target rep, you know. He might give you some prizes or whatever if you guys are killing it, or, you know, whatever they say.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyways, I did do tour in 05. Only made it to the second stop. I blew like my run in Kentucky, blew my run. Actually, my runs in Kentucky were okay, but then in Denver, I blew it. And I didn't have enough points to stay on the tour.
Is this a first year do tour?
Yeah,
okay.
2005. And then...
How old are you at this point?
Let's see. Graduated high school in 04. And...
Okay. Yeah, 19.
So, 18.
Okay.
Yeah. And then basically, I was like at Woodward riding all summer. And then my buddy that was the bike director at the time, his name's Andy Alvarez. He lived there full time, and I was like, dude, I don't want to leave. Like, this is too much fun. So I took a job after summer camp and was literally just doing what they call Lost Boy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like cleaning the buildings, emptying the foam pits, and doing all this prep that like leads into next summer, stuffing mail, like all kinds of crazy stuff.
Gopher guy.
Not crazy, I guess, you know.
Just whatever keeps it running in the off season.
Yeah, just whatever needed done.
Mow the lawn.
So you stayed during the off season.
Yeah. So the whole time during the summer, I was like watching Do Tour and just envious. I wanted to be on tour and competing on dirt and this and that. And I just went into full like progression mode, just learning everything I could and just getting super dialed, just putting stuff on repeat nonstop on the resis, you know.
Who's a session with those days?
Well, it depended between like the wintertime and the summertime, but like in the summertime when the sessions were like the heaviest, it was usually me and Daniel Dares, because that's when Dares came on the scene.
Yeah.
And he was like living at camp too.
And this is barely any English Dares, right?
Yeah. Barely any English. Pre-veneers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love you, Daniel.
Probably the version of Daniel that he wants to forget about.
Yeah.
But it was just he and I. And then whoever was, Axel Jurgens lived there at the time, and Alistair Witten was still riding a bunch. So it was a pretty heavy crew. Steve McCann was there. Yeah, I don't know. There was a lot of people.
But it wasn't you solo in a warehouse.
Right,
yeah. But I mean, it was dudes that were killing it on Do Tour.
Yeah,
at the time.
Totally. Yeah. So I was able to kind of ride with all those dudes and feed off the momentum and learn new stuff and, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So,
How is it like I always think of Woodward. I think of like Bestwick and Kagi and like,
Right.
Robinson and like kind of those secret sessions.
John
and-
Parker.
yeah. And like,
I saw the body varial on vert with my own eyes.
That's
you know,
awesome.
like
insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, at that time, it was like you were either from Greenville or
Yep.
Woodward, or you're like one of the other people. But like those were like the
Exactly.
two main scenes, and everyone else like that. Then there was like me and Gary from San Diego and a few guys from here and there.
Yeah.
But it was like either like European dudes, Woodward, or Greenville.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was like the
yeah,
where you
if
lived.
you wanted to like be a top competitor, you either had to find your way into Woodward or move to Greenville.
What was it that made it so like that was the only path?
There
Like for
wasn't
you,
really-
for you, I mean, question for both
Yeah,
you guys,
I
guess.
don't think there was any like. I
as
feel
far
like
as
the
what, going into
just-
Dutour?
just
Or-
like being competitive, like being in that environment and like the level of riding or the foam pits or the training.
I was never
facility.
really there for that. I would just, if I'd went, I'd see it real quick.
Yeah.
Like I'd only go to Woodward for like 4 days
yeah.
real quick. And then
Are you
this
asking
is
like what the
insane.
motivation is to be that type of rider, or
Yeah.
or how or
Well, I just think it's unique that there's 2 spots in the country that
Oh,
are
yeah.
producing riders
Yeah.
that are competitive on like a national level.
True, yeah. I think rider wise, like I've always liked to compete. Like I grew up playing football and soccer and whatever, like as a kid. And then when I found BMX and then realized like you could compete, I was like excited about it. You know, I entered the one amateur contest at Section 8 and I won my first ever contest. And then I was like, well, I'm just going to ride like pro contests after this,
Yeah.
whether I like had any business being in a pro contest or not. So I just kept doing that. And just over the years, it just became super fun. I think I just like the challenge of it. And I don't know, I guess I'm probably a little bit of a showman on top of that. Not as big of a showman as like Hucker by any means, because no one's bigger than Hucker's showmanship. But,
Like maybe that's
It's
maybe
probably
that's
the
the
ad-
attraction.
the
Like
adrenaline
it's
of it
that
too,
that
you know?
style of like person, or like
Yeah.
I want to be here, so
Yeah.
I need to be there.
I was
Well,
actually
and as far-
telling
those were the places that had the Woodward or the foam pit, the resi quarter, the resi
The
spine,
compound,
like the
yeah.
place to like progress your riding in that sense.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
and there wasn't those places. They weren't like they are now, where they're all over the place and in
Yeah.
different
Mm-hmm.
areas and things. Back then, it was like that's where the dudes who were doing it lived.
Yeah, I guess that makes
Yeah.
sense.
I was telling a friend the other day,
Seems like.
Yeah.
the reason I love like BMX, it really just cycling in general, because I'm sure you guys see I do a lot of mountain bike stuff too nowadays.
What is that?
Huh?
What is that?
Mountain biking.
Oh, okay.
I just enjoy the process of learning things. I enjoy the fear of it. I enjoy the challenge to get to the goal and the outcome of it.
Yeah.
Like I just love the process. I think if the process was removed, like I wouldn't like it at all. You know what I
And
mean?
that makes sense why you've had all these chapters, because you're not scared at like starting over and doing something, because then you
Yeah.
did the Woodward thing,
Mhm.
Dutour champion after Woodward. And then you became like a top mega ramp competitor and then started inventing
Right,
tricks
yeah.
in that style of riding. Whereas like you just tried it and you weren't the best at it in the beginning, but then, by the second or third X Games in it, you were competing for medals at every one.
Yeah, exactly.
You just
Yeah.
put your head down in that too, and just like I got this. When I saw you riding Mega Ramp, I was like, what is he doing?
Yeah, and I think
And then I
about
was
that
like,
a lot
damn,
too.
he got really good at it.
I think about that a lot too, because the first year that I went to X Games was in 06 and I got a bronze medal. And then after 06, they clipped dirt.
Mhm.
And I was like a top competitor at the time, and they just kind of pushed us in this direction. They were like, hey, we're going to do this open qualifying thing. Try it out. If you like it, cool. If you don't, cool, And I liked it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is sick. So I actually my first mega ramp contest, I got a medal too, I think.
Yeah, I guess it was
Yeah.
right away. But for me, it was surprising because the quarter is like 27 feet, and I didn't like take you as like a
Yeah.
huge quarter guy, but you got used to it pretty fast.
Yeah, and to be honest, like a lot of my quarter pipe riding skills come from Section 8 because we had an 8-foot tall quarter that had like 4 inches of vert on it.
Mhm.
So like riding a vert ramp or riding stuff that was vertical like that really wasn't something different for me. But it was just some adjustment because obviously that transition is like a day long,
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the top, you're like, what do I do? So
Circling back to the Dutour days, like how long did you 05 you stuffed it.
Yeah,
right?
stuffed it.
Yeah. And then
Right.
06 champ, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
from last to first, basically.
Yeah.
So you literally on 05 you couldn't continue to compete because you
Right,
did
yeah.
so poorly.
Yeah, you had to stay in the top 30.
That was the
Not doing that poorly, but you got
Well, I mean,
sure,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
really good.
Poorly,
You got to
yeah.
do good to
Yeah.
stay in it.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Top
yeah,
30,
that,
I think,
that
moved
was
on.
that was the NBC marketing ploy right there. The Cinderella story is
Ooh.
what
Yeah.
they called it.
Okay. Oh.
First to or last to first.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, it was just like putting the time in. I knew what I want. Well, I didn't know like in the winters and spring leading up to 06 Dew Tour that like I wanted to win. I just wanted to. My goal was to get out of the open qualifier.
Yeah.
I was like, I just want to get out of the open qualifier into the finals or
Yeah.
whatever, not the finals, but like into the.
Show.
Stay in
the
stay in all
actual
6
qualifier.
stops or whatever
Yeah.
it is, 5 stops.
And then I qualified in Kentucky. I qualified from qualifying into the finals, and I was like, oh my god, this is like an incredible bonus. Like this is so cool, So I put a first run down, and back then it was best run count, only 2 runs.
Mhm.
So I put a good run down, and I was in like 6th or 7th or something like that, and I was just so hyped, and I was like, you know what? I got nothing to lose. I'm just gonna put my hardest tricks like into my second run, and if I pull it, I'm gonna be stoked.
Yeah.
You know.
And if not, you already got a 6th or a 7th.
Yeah.
Like that's already better than what you expected to get.
Yeah, exactly.
Made finals.
And I did that, and then I was like in first place, and I was
Dang.
like, "What the heck? This is crazy!" And
Let's-
then as the rest of the riders kept going along, I was just still in first. And then it was like, "This is the only guy left that can take him off the podium. Luke Parslow's about to drop in, blah blah blah," and he blows it or something.
my god.
And I was just like,
That was the first one the next year?
"Yeah, Louisville."
That's awesome.
And I was just blown. I couldn't even believe it, I like called my mom and I was like, I won this contest. And she's like, oh, that's so cool, honey. And she has like
Yeah.
no idea.
It's like you won
And I'm
another
like,
Section 8 contest. Good
Yeah.
job, Anthony.
And I'm like, I won 15 grand. And she's like, what?
nice.
And then she
Solid.
was like, oh, that was the turning point too, a little bit for her, because
Yeah.
at this point I had finished 1 semester of college at Youngstown State University. And I was like, Mom, I'm moving to Central Pennsylvania for the summer. And then, Mom, I'm staying in Central Pennsylvania through the winter. I'm not going back to school.
And then, Mom, I made 15 grand at the first contest.
Right,
Oh,
and
this
then-
is looking like it's paying off.
As history would know it, that all just kind of snowballed throughout the year into. Yeah, no worries.
Ah, you're a
Oh,
disaster.
man, there he goes.
You're falling apart. From the marketing side, I always think that like, so you're this, you're a good looking dude, marketable.
Right.
They're like, look at this
That
guy.
helps.
Look, we can put all these logos on him, and the logos look great because he's pretty. Like that type of thing. Cinderella story.
Yeah. What's
Like-
fun is it was that.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly. Yeah.
Like you have NBC producers going like, all right, but like say how sad you were or something like that. What'd you feel like? Like I could see somebody being like, but like, what did you feel like when you lost? Because
Right.
you lost, you sucked. Like get you down in the gutter. Like
The good thing, I guess that I had going for me, although I was, I don't want to say an experienced rider, because when you're winning stuff at that level, you're obviously a good at what you do.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I've always been pretty well spoken, and I kind of like what Dennis said, like adapting to different things. And I have all these chapters in my life. I've never been afraid to really excel or just do something different.
Mhm.
So talking on TV was first off from the get-go very natural for me to do. Like I didn't fear it. I didn't get choked up on words. I knew what to say.
yeah,
Like pretty good at manipulating a conversation too, because that happens too. Like they're going to try and throw something at you that maybe you don't want to talk about,
Yeah.
or maybe it's this. And in going through,
create rivalries.
Right.
I always am horrible at saying that
and
word.
as soon as I won like that first stop, like the brands that were like, I had Target behind me, and then Right Guard jumped on too, because they were part of the whole. It was like Target, Right Guard, Hoffman bikes or whatever,
Yeah.
So I was like right into. See, now I'm lost for words. I jinxed myself.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I was right into media training with through Target.
Oh,
and
they
all
put
this
you in
stuff.
media training.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been through like, I can't even keep count of how many different media training courses I've been through. But
that's
talking
nice.
on
Get that
TV
shit
and
for
stuff
free.
like that. Yeah, right. Exactly. That's like one of the awesome pullbacks from it all too.
Yeah.
Portland 2010. I'm trying to find old Do Tour videos, and the first
Dude,
one
I feel like the very first stuff was like internet wasn't.
Yeah,
That's
that's
like,
Yeah, it
that
really
ain't
literally-
even, that ain't
yeah.
even old. That's
yeah,
like
that's
middle of
2010.
2010.
Yeah, the first video is literally like a fucking
think I might
Yeti
have
or
won that
something
one.
like that. Ooh, you are.
Let's see.
Let's watch. Dennis
Pretty
is
sure
like,
I did pretty good at Oregon ones. I always killed it. I always killed it at those Oregon because they were indoor, dude. I hated the wind.
That's the one you got fucking maced at.
I might have.
It literally is.
No, it wasn't. That was-
2010.
Like,
No, that was
actually
street style
maced?
when I got maced.
By
The-
a
I love
human
this
with
topic.
a can of mace.
Yeah, I got maced.
Wow.
Fucking eyes.
Whenever-
I thought
whenever
maybe that was a
whenever
cool
Dennis-
turn, like
Whenever
Dennis
Anthony-
did this tail whip and got melted, you know.
Whenever Dennis did good at contests, he'd be like, just get all the boys and just be like, wow. Like,
That wasn't if I did good. That was just after every contest.
There he is, right there. He's already thinking
God.
about the after party.
Actually, this.
So when you win a Do Tour in 2006, and especially the Do Cup, like you literally had a fucking day named after you in Youngstown, right?
I did, yes.
Like,
November 28th.
all right,
yeah.
happy Anthony Napolitan
Thank
Day
you. Yes, it just
2023.
passed.
Yeah. But like, I mean, that's crazy, right?
Yeah,
you know,
it's-
like,
yeah, there were a lot of incredible things that happened during that year that I look back on all the time, and I'm just like, dude, like, this is real.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean? Like,
there it
I
is.
have a lot of things that I'm proud of, you know. And it's funny because I never really told anyone about. Yeah, Dennis.
other two the other way.
I think you beat me at this one. You haven't gone yet.
Was
Yeah,
that
they
3?
used to put
No.
them in the order, huh? From like top to bottom.
See, I didn't do good at that one, but we still went out.
baby Nyquist.
But yeah, I never really told anyone about Anthony Napolitan Day until a few years ago.
Oh, really?
It was funny because like Chase got a day in Austin.
For X Games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Ooh,
and he would
damn.
post about
7
it all the
double
time,
truck.
and I was like,
What is this setup at the end? I thought you were just fucking around, but
I think everyone starts jumping off of it. I think Mad Dog front flipped off of it.
he's a madman.
God,
He might have won this one.
Dude.
I
He
remember.
might have.
what a fucking story. Yeah, because I said casual, I think, in the title, so I think this is the first
Oh, yeah,
casual.
probably.
Yeah.
Here
Right
we
here.
go. He did him. He seriously does him the best. It's
Yeah.
like he's doing the front flip. He's doing.
There it was off the berm.
God damn, Molly Gosh. Oh my, Molly Gosh.
Man, there's so many.
Yeah, there's people picking up
brands.
crazy
There's
sponsors
so
during the
many
Do Tour
brands
days.
back
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, when Chase started posting about his day, I was like, I have a day. Like, I need to post about that. Like, I feel
Yeah.
it's funny because Dennis is like, I don't think the internet was doing its thing back then. It really wasn't.
It wasn't,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, like because I didn't do the whole first year of Do Tour, but I watched it. I think you just watched it on NBC.
Yeah, just watched it
you
on
watched it that
NBC.
one time,
Yeah.
and then it was gone unless it came back up somehow. But yeah,
Yeah.
you knew when it was coming on TV, and you watched it.
Yeah.
and it was epic.
you know
Yeah.
what's crazy is I'm pretty sure like that was like the Fat Tony era for Ride, but
Yeah.
I have all his tapes in the garage.
Oh, whoa.
And like they're all like in there. It'd be funny, obviously, if I could invent like more time or a clone or something
Right,
like
yeah.
that.
An
But like
employee.
go
To go
an
through it all.
Is that what they're called?
An employee would help this guy.
Employee. Yeah. All right. Let me
Clone,
work on that.
more time. an employee for the.
But it'd be
for
crazy.
your
It'd be
company,
crazy to go through
your
some of those
successful
because I'm sure
company.
there's some funny shit.
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
I filmed 1 or 2 of them, and I definitely remember like Kagi slipping out and like shooting through some trap door underneath a grind
yeah.
box or something
right,
like that,
yeah.
and he like pops out.
Yeah.
And it was like,
Yeah, because the sides of the park course had that mesh stuff on them. They
Yeah.
weren't solid.
Yeah.
Because it was all built on the.
Scaffold.
no, I think he like
Scaffolding,
it
right?
was like a board he went through or
Oh,
something.
was it?
It was like I don't know. Who
One time,
knows,
Kevin
but-
Corrali in practice aired a big quarter, and when he landed,
went
it
through the tranny
quarter
drop.
dropped down like 2
Yeah.
feet, and he slammed like the quarter fell underneath.
It created a
the-
curb, so the bottom
But, like,
of the
this
transition
high as this table.
dropped down. Yeah, and it
Oh,
was
like the
literally-
platform
Yeah, it
collapsed.
was literally
Collapsed, so when
like
he landed,
this.
the quarter
So
fell.
he did a flare straight into a front wheel.
Oh
snapped
my
his
God.
frame.
Yeah.
but he
Oh
just
my
perfectly
God.
slid. Yeah,
That was crazy. I forgot about that.
Where's Junkin? Get Junkin on that clip.
I know, right? Junkin.
it was whoever saw it in practice. I was not filmed.
I remember.
There was nobody filming.
There's
shit
money
back
on
then.
the table.
Man, I remember the one year Mira was just destroying the park course. He was on a mission,
Yeah.
dude. He was just annihilating everything. He was one practice, qualifying, whatever, got to the finals, slid out on something and hit one of those like barrier fence things.
Oh, and
was
he
just so
grabbed
mad
it.
He grabbed it.
Yeah.
Threw it on the
wrestled it.
park
Yeah.
course. That
I
was
actually seen that because I was during like Fuel TV firsthand.
Oh,
that
yeah.
clip went viral on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know if I feel like I was there, but I don't know if I just like watched that clip a couple of
Yeah,
times
like,
because
it
it's so
was on
great.
the
It was like
screen.
such a
Yeah.
raw Mira moment,
Totally,
you know,
yeah.
like one of those things.
He was
But
mad.
I mean, shit had to pop off though. Like I'm thinking like sponsor wise.
Oh,
like
yeah.
you had an agent,
Absolutely.
I assume at this point, correct?
Not through all of 06, but at the time, because I was with Hoffman Bikes and stuff, Steve Swope was starting to dabble into the agency.
Okay.
So what ended up happening was Steve started working for an agency called IMG, which is like a really big agency in LA. And he lived in Santa Monica. So Steve ended up being my agent for so long, probably till about 2013. And that was about when he moved over into his role
Okay.
at Woodward Camp now. So yeah, Steve did a lot of my dealings for stuff for me for sure.
And I guess kind of what I'm getting at is like win the cup, get a fancy blue car, says do cup on the thing, name, you got a fucking day in the town,
Yeah.
you know, orange wheels, the whole fucking, you know, like I mean, I guess
Year changed a lot.
yeah, like
Yeah.
you had a rapid ascent, and did that have any sort of like pressure or fucking, you know, because I feel like sometimes
Right,
it's
yeah,
like you get a
totally.
peak and then you're like, all right, do I have to keep going up or do I hold it? And the idea of when it finally goes down.
Right. Yeah. To be honest, I didn't really feel the pressure at all.
Mhm.
I was so stoked for contest season to start again in 07, this and that. I was like ready, had new tricks, was like super pumped. And then there's what we called the Dew Tour Dirt Curse. And the Dew Tour Dirt Curse was not broken until Nyquist eventually won a Dew Cup, which was like maybe 4 or 5 years down the line.
What is the curse?
So the Dirt Curse is in qualifying, the previous dirt champion gets hurt in his first run. So in Louisville 06, Gutler did the tail whip to Indian Air seat grab and smashed his face in. And then for me in 2007, it was a windy in dirt, I remember, but did a tail whip, a straight whip on one of the sets, and the wind caught me, over-rotated, separated my shoulder, so I couldn't ride in Baltimore. Was the first stop that year, I think. And then Cam White won the Dew Cup that year, and he got hurt as well. Like, so there was like,
That's
if you won
crazy.
the
I never thought of that.
if you won the cup in dirt, it was only in dirt. If you won the cup in dirt, you were like getting hurt basically the first stop next year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I can't remember. I think Cam, I want to say he did something to his knee. I can't remember, but something happened, and the curse wasn't broken until Mr. Consistency himself, Ryan Nyquist.
Who's the best competitive BMX rider of all time?
I think Nyquist.
Yeah,
I think so. I mean,
I
could
think
always bet on Nyquist.
I give you my top three.
okay.
I think in no particular order. I think it's Durs, Nyquist, and Logan.
Ooh, yeah. I get what you're saying.
I think Durs has won more than anybody.
Probably, yeah. You're probably absolutely right.
Love him
Yeah.
or hate him.
I
What
love
about
him.
Garrett though?
Love
Like when you see him, the amount of times he hasn't pulled
Garrett.
a first run, you're like, someone else is going to win this one.
Stuff. Yeah, I guess I
And
said
then he
I opened it up.
He's so good with turning it on and not letting the pressure get to him, but like pump him up to
See,
I think
I was going
everything.
the
I
other
think
direction.
I think
was gonna say
percentage-wise-
Jay Muir on the next one.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well,
I mean,
well
fuck.
then what about Mira and
Totally, yeah.
and Bestwick?
Oh man, we could talk about this all day.
Yeah.
And then you got
well,
Flat
see,
Limit,
see,
you
but,
did what?
okay,
Like-
stop. Okay, you're doing that thing again.
You said Park. All right.
I did.
Well, you
But no,
say
I
it,
didn't.
but you
I didn't.
meant
But
it.
I think percentage wise, Garrett, contests entered versus contests won, Garrett.
Okay.
You know, but
Yeah.
I think like
Yeah.
I feel like Durs has like the span of time and like the amount of
True.
like whatever multi-million miles he has flown.
He's probably
Yeah.
been
Like-
on the podium, you know.
Yeah, he's
the-
probably riding an event in 2 different countries right now. Like,
Yeah.
You know, like leaving one now to
Yeah.
go to another.
I'm
like,
gonna say like
That's his career,
like
is
most,
contests on the
most
weekends.
competitive and like let's say like most winningest podiums. I think like Nyquist and Dares probably have like a good battle for it.
yeah.
Garrett obviously has a lot, but there.
Yeah, like what you
but
said,
Garrett
Garrett's like
wasn't-
consistent.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Dares was winning Dew Tour stuff a bit before Garrett was.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah. And there's just more park events.
There are,
you know?
like, that's the other thing too.
Always has been.
But I think
feel
if we're
like
going on like personality traits too, like Garrett's well up there for a competitive type of guy, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though like
competitive,
visually
not
it doesn't
competitive.
look like Garrett's that dude, but when he gets out there,
he's really good at
Yeah.
like the contest helping him to pull that run that's impossible.
Right.
Instead of like most people, like it makes it harder to land. It's like,
I mean, let's just be real. He is just a freak of nature on a bike.
Dude, I filmed
Like, doesn't matter if he's in a contest or in the streets, right?
oh yeah.
I filmed him at his
He's the
house
man.
a couple of days ago for when Van was here for the Source bike check stuff. And Van and I were literally like looking at each other every time he would say a trick, you know, and then we would look at each other and it'd be like basically, I mean, there was a couple that took a few tries, but most were like pretty much first go or first 3 goes. And after he pulled it, I just look at Van and be like, just like laughing, you know, like it is still so impressive. Like, it's just, I can't even recommend a trick to him because I'm like, I don't know if this is like impossible.
Right.
Or if it's just way below his level,
Yeah.
you know,
I did that like a while ago.
Yeah, like no, that's not good. I'm like, okay, well that was impossible.
We need to get him back on the
So,
podcast. He was someone that I realized he hasn't been on the podcast since I just did it at my house. I think he was like one of the
and it was
first 2 or 3.
a lot
Photo
of super Nike focus too, because it was like kind of on the cusp of that.
Yeah, I can't even remember. But yeah, he'd be sick to have back on.
So obviously 2006 was great.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like, you know, you're like, oh, I'm gonna go buy a fucking house on the hills, like you know, like that one.
Well,
you know,
no,
I'm gonna be
but-
the fucking. I'm gonna
House
own
on the hillside, like in Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
yes.
like yeah, exactly.
A little
So-
condo on the hillside.
Exactly. I got myself a nice little. I did. In 2008, I bought a nice little condo in State College on the hillside.
Okay.
It was nice. And then I was just kind of doing the contest scene, like, you know, win some, lose some, whatever. Like every year wasn't like 06.
Yeah.
Like I was just on fire. I had the ingredients. I had the rhythm. It was just, everything was just piecing together too well, you know? Hurt my shoulder in 07 and kind of like struggled throughout the whole year with the shoulder thing. Cause it was like the first time I ever separated it. It was like a 3rd degree separation or something. And I was like getting fixed up and like riding in shoulder brace at the second stop. Like probably could only lift my arm to here. And honestly, the only year that I really felt a little bit of pressure was that second year of Dew Tour is the first time they were going to be in Cleveland. So I wanted to put on like a good, almost like hometown style showing because Cleveland's only an hour from where I grew up. And they were using me for all the marketing too for it.
See, that's what I mean by the pressure.
Right. Yeah. And it wasn't even that it was a lot of pressure because of the marketing. I think I put more pressure on myself because I was like, my shoulder is like not the greatest, you know? And then they had
like you said, that's
Nyquist
always
side by side with me. So we were like fake trash talking the whole time, like during like meetings with like the news and whatever it was, you know, we were just having fun with it. But
and it's so hard when, like, especially in those, like right in the beginning of your contest season, when you're trying to get your shoulder better a month later for the next one. And then all this practice that you were doing to kill it the whole season through, all you're doing is like trying to maintain just to be able to do those tricks.
Yeah,
not
I'm
like
doing a little bit of these, and then I'm like picking up the stars and put them in my pocket over here for the shoulder workouts.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah, like you shouldn't be riding a contest, but you kind of like you make yourself do it.
Yeah,
and then all year you're just struggling because you never get on top of the injury.
Totally.
Yeah, been there. That one sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say like from, man, I'm just trying to think of like it's weird. I'm like keep track of memory sometimes with like trophies. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like, I think I've like, you know, a bunch of trophies from 06, bunch from 07, and then 08 was still a really good year. But like I wasn't hitting like Dew Tour as hard. I was still qualified like top 10 year end or something like that, you know, but I think I was like, at that point I was starting to get burned out on like contest stuff almost, you know? And then 2009 is when I got picked up by Redbull.
That's another chapter.
Yeah.
Because that was like, like you were kind of traveling around doing their TV show with them. And that was when like dirt contests were turning into like weird box jump contests at fairs. And like there was a weird like
Yep.
weird transition.
All the ASA
Did I just
box things.
Yeah, and that wasn't really
There
your
you go.
style. You'd already
Yeah.
done it.
There it is.
There she is. Finally, all of this searching.
Look
man,
at
Wow.
you.
dude,
Look
this-
at that hair.
This looks like this is what I
Look
watched
at this
on TV.
golden boy
Colin McKay right next to you.
Yeah, he is.
riding for Duffs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
look,
dude.
there it
Fucking
is. Right guard, Maxis,
guard.
Duffs, Target, Hoffman Bikes.
And that was after one
And
win.
tiny
You got all
shirts.
those. You got all those sponsors after one, or was the first one where you already on all these companies?
No, so I was on Hoffman, and then they had a co-sponsor, which was Target and Right Guard. So once the first stop at Louisville happened, they were just on board right away. And then Brian Osborne at Duff's.
Did you
had
win
been-
like every one this year? Because you're already in first after. And you must have won this one too.
I did, yeah.
So
at
two in a row.
At this point, so I won Louisville. I got second in Denver. I got third in Portland, and then I didn't like the course in San Jose, and I got like sixth or seventh or something. And at that point, the points changed. They were pretty tight. So when I got sixth, Parslow did good, and he moved up to overall title.
Okay.
So when I landed in Orlando for the final stop, my mindset was like, I'm winning. I don't care. I'm winning this. I'm going to win this contest. And literally that's what I did. I went, practiced, and then there's a practice like that goes on before finals. And I went up, I took one run. I did the run that I wanted to do. And then I just went and chilled somewhere until they called my name for the runs. And then I dropped in first run, did that, and I just stayed in first the whole time.
Damn, that's so sick.
But I was so
Good year.
like mentally that was probably like I was using the whole mind over matter deal super hard, like going into Orlando, because I really, for whatever reason, the competitive edge took over, because I feel like up to that point I was having so much fun, like doing what I was doing, and I was just falling into these placings, right? And then when I got bumped out of into second for the overall points,
You're like, I gotta focus.
I was like, gotta focus. I'm gonna win this.
That's cool. It
Like,
works.
blah,
I feel
blah,
like most times that doesn't work for people.
Yeah.
When they get all like go
Yeah.
from fun to serious, and then it's like,
Yeah.
that doesn't work.
But
it's cool. It worked for you.
I literally showed up, and in my mind, I was straight business, but on the outside, I was still like the same guy that was at the following 4 stops or whatever.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I was like, I'm winning this shit. Like, and I'm not leaving until I win, you know?
That's dope. That's how you do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to understand like the how somebody who was a longtime competitor and has been like the champion,
Right.
you know, and like not being the champion anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that just tears people apart sometimes. You know, like
Yeah.
you can never.
Yeah, a lot of
replicate
people
it.
like want to retire or whatever. That
Yeah.
seems to happen with those champs. You know, the real quick dudes who get like 2 years of just annihilation,
Yeah.
and then everybody
Destruction,
learns their
yeah.
tricks.
I mean, no hate, but Dosh. Dosh was like
Yeah.
fucking came up, and then
There's
it
been
was
so
like,
many,
and
you
then
know?
it,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, like I just because I saw him earlier.
Yeah, and
like,
he's one of the
and
most competitive persons that I
Yeah.
know. I lived
Yeah.
with him forever, or he lived with me, I guess.
I can
but-
make coffee faster
Yeah.
than you.
Yeah, exactly.
I love Dosh.
But
Me too. He's funny because he's like, you wouldn't think he's this competitive guy. Like
Yeah.
his normal day to day, but yeah.
I have no idea
Yeah.
what this is, but like the thumbnail is interesting. Like look at this scene.
oh yeah, this
Like,
was
this
at
is-
Detour. This was
All
so
these little
they
kids watching.
so they would set these things out. It was almost like Total Request Live at Detour.
I
You
just
know,
it's so funny what the day and age. I just think of COVID.
what
now.
is his
like,
name? I'm trying to remember
Pat
that
Parnell?
dude's name.
Was that his name?
No.
No? What was his
What's his name?
I remember him.
It's probably at the very beginning. I could if it,
Do Underground. Oh yeah, I
Crazy.
rode for Amp.
So what is AMP? That's like dude.
Amp Energy is Mountain Dew's.
So, but that's what I mean.
energy
Like you
drink.
get that.
Yeah.
So,
this
you
is-
win the cup, but they're like, hey, you got to ride for AMP.
This is
People are-
2007.
Yeah, like
'cause
fighting over
It
him.
looks
Yeah.
like
Yeah, we got to get him on our
this
team.
is
He's going to win
07.
again.
So I have DC's on, rode for DC. The Levi's deal, which was pretty interesting. It started off as Levi Strauss,
Mm-hmm.
and then we were like, hey, like Levi's runs ads in Ride BMX. Like what is going on here, right?
Yeah.
So then Levi's was like, okay, forget it, and they just brought the whole program from Levi Strauss, which is a separate brand of theirs,
Yeah.
into Red Tab,
Oh, okay.
Levi's Red Tab.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really crazy. But yeah, this is probably 2007, and then I rode for Amp, which was the Mountain Dew's energy drink.
Yeah.
Which brings more pressure in because Dew Tour,
You're repping
Amp
it. You're the
Energy,
golden boy.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
whole deal with that. Man, you're just really pulling this stuff
Dude,
out.
this
You're a plunger.
This is fun. This is
I
so
am.
fun for me to
I
watch.
am.
This is like reliving.
I can go deep into the bowels since he said
Fuel
plunger,
TV,
the bowels
man, that
of
was the
YouTube.
shit.
Yeah.
man,
Before the
it's
internet,
crazy.
there was cable TV action sports.
Do you think this will ever
Well,
exist
internet was-
again for even
Like Dew Tour?
Yeah, like even this type thing, like even for
No.
skateboarding, like it doesn't really exist.
Well,
Like
they still have
they have Street Series.
It
Street
ain't like
League,
this
right?
though.
It's
Dew
not
Tour
like
was on
this.
some
It's
other
It's
shit.
not
man.
this.
And Dew Tour still isn't skate, but it's like really
Just
small.
one stop in Long
Is
Beach.
it one stop?
Yeah,
Okay,
They
yeah.
do like
See,
a
I-
street.
And I don't think they're going to be doing it anymore.
Oh,
That's as
okay.
far as I because we were. I mean, the ride building 10 was Dew Tour. And so as far, I think I may have even said this already on the podcast, but as far as I know, that they only kept Transworld Skate alive because they had a contract with Dew Tour to do it again.
Oh.
And then after they lose that contract was up, which was, I think last year,
Yeah.
it may be a wrap.
Who knows what
Okay.
will happen though? Because before Dew Tour, would anyone have ever thought Dew Tour was going to be the next thing? It
Yeah,
just
I
came
mean,
out
I
of
hope so.
nowhere.
Yeah.
I hope so.
And then
for
before
sure.
that was like what, Triple Crowns.
Yeah.
And then
This
you
is
know,
like
there's
this is
been
like
a-
T,
there's
but this
been
is
a
like
pattern,
this is like
you know?
TRL live
Yeah,
or
Yeah.
something.
there's
Was
been a
that got
pattern.
like
shit was
It like-
crazy.
It was like Core Tours and then Triple Crowns and
Yeah.
then Gravity Games and then Dew Tour.
Yeah.
You know?
And there was like
though
even like,
Gravity Games was more like the X Games version for NBC. It was only one deal, you know?
Yeah.
But
but then there was
it
like Vans
seemed-
Pro Cups
it
when
seemed
everything
like
else
there
went
was
away.
it was
Yeah.
Vans Triple Crown.
Yeah, but then
Yeah.
then Dew Tour, and then what alongside all the other shit, and then Vans Pro Cup,
Yeah.
then COVID,
Yeah.
yeah.
and
Right.
now like Olympics is like huge.
Yeah.
There's always something. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Always something. But this was an era, man.
Yeah.
This
kinda
was
put
an
the
era.
Vans Bowl Series into a different category because, like, well, I feel like even the Triple Crowns, like that style events, kind of considered non-endemic, even though Vans has been in BMX for so long.
Yeah.
Like, I still feel like it was one of those series, but it seems like there was always, if one died, there was always a series waiting to start up.
Yeah.
And then after Dew Tour, there really wasn't. It was just X Games, you know.
Yeah.
There really
As
wasn't
far
like
as
a
like
big series. I don't think.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, I guess
Pro
Dew
Cups
Tour-
and Olympics, but you're saying
Well,
that's not. That's
I mean,
like,
Red Bull
Right.
did a lot of stuff too.
They
yeah, but they've
did,
done a
yeah.
lot of stuff throughout
Yeah,
the whole
I mean,
thing.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
always like stuff going on, but yeah, like the Dew Tour, the Triple
Yeah.
Crown, or the Vans Pro Cup.
More so just
Dew
like
Tour
a
was
planned
an
series
era.
that has a points chase and
Yeah.
like the whole
Yeah.
deal. You know,
Yeah.
the only thing closest to that right now that I know of is the triple challenge, and
Yeah.
it, you know what I mean.
Points
it has
race,
a
yeah.
points and
Overall
there's 3
champion
stops,
and
which
yeah.
is cool.
Yeah,
I love
that's cool.
those. They're fun.
They're cool.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Like 2.5 years ago, the world was like at hold, and everyone thought everyone was gonna die too.
True,
So you gotta
yeah,
like
yeah,
people are like
yeah.
so quick to forget. Like what's going on? It's like
Yeah.
we can do shit normal again. Like that's
I've just,
sweet.
I mean, like, yeah, it's great. It's just crazy because, like, you think of the park courses, the Dew Tour park courses.
It's
Like,
so unreal.
if I post a clip from that, people will be like, "Oh my god, look at the course, fuck feast," you know, like it's just
Right,
like
yeah.
instantly, like they go
the
nuts.
park courses were
Like,
so sick.
yeah.
It was honestly, I loved watching Dennis ride the park courses because he rode them like nobody else did. You know.
Well, that was a cool thing about those is like, yeah, there was the Greenville Woodward crew, but then there was the people, you know, Garrett and all, like there was a bunch of us that didn't ride foam pits and resis, and
Right.
like you could get in there just because the courses were so good. You get so creative.
Yeah.
Creative. They were like blank canvas. You didn't need a million box jump. You didn't even need to hit the box jump.
Yeah.
Like Garrett won a whole Dew Tour one time, and
Yeah.
you know beat Dave Muir and Ryan Nyquist with his
Uh-huh.
style because he ripped the course like hard enough to just really.
Jesus.
Yeah,
win the
it's
whole
so
thing.
wow.
And then he made the girl cry, right? Is that
What?
Is that he made it like a producer cry or something? I don't know. I'm
I don't
joking.
know.
No, that was.
I'm
It was. I'm not joking. I'm not joking in the sense of like that. It was like after the fact or something. He was doing an interview, and then he was so like whatever. I don't care.
Oh,
Like type
yeah.
thing, you know, like
Yeah.
he like he like frustrated a girl like
Jeez.
really bad, but
Mm.
maybe I'm mixing.
I don't
two
remember that.
stories,
I don't
but
know. I don't
yeah.
know. There's a lot of things that happened during those tours.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah.
Craig Mass' girlfriend at the time got a clock landed on her head.
Oh yeah, the score, the countdown clock for the runs fell and like literally like opened her up. Yeah.
Holy shit!
It was
She came
gnarly.
up on
There was
that,
like
I
a big
remember.
lawsuit.
Yeah.
She made a bunch of money off that.
And then Corrali,
Yeah.
the whole ramp drops on Corali. He's like,
No,
it's
it's-
good.
Yeah,
and then a
it's
clock
okay,
falls on someone. They're like,
man.
I'm suing you. It's so funny. Different people's,
Yeah, a lot of
how
crazy
they
things.
sue and how they don't.
The
Look at you right there.
I know.
Who is this Red
This,
Bull
this is
athlete?
this is Red Bull and Anthony Napolitan's Red Bull intro. This popped up
Yeah, so
12 years ago.
So Luke Seal
hmm
at the time, he was my athlete manager. He told me we were going to Arizona he wanted to show me. So I didn't know,
How long have you been on Red Bull at this point?
like a week, maybe not even.
You just wear that same
I
shirt
actually
all
flew-
over
I
the
actually
country
flew
too.
To yeah, exactly.
Look at Luke right there.
Like
Look at
four
him.
colors.
How old
Yeah,
is Luke?
He's a young buck.
20.
So I flew to Chicago probably like a week before this, and he took me to dinner somewhere in Chicago, and we're talking, and then he's like, and he like gets in this conversation, and then he just chucks a hat across the table at me, and it like hits me in the chest. And I pick it up. It's a Red Bull hat, and he's like, "You're in, man." And I was like, "Damn."
So I always get confused about this process because at Dreamline, Tyler got on, right? Was that the celebration party?
He got on at this other event that they did in Texas.
It was
and
like
I think Drew Bezanson gave him his hat.
Or was that it was a random event that like nobody saw that had like containers people were jumping in and out of.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a flop event, honestly.
I
Like,
Yeah,
I
it
saw
was,
this.
It was
Weird.
some one-off thing. I don't even remember what it
But
was.
I knew about it because
in
I knew
Houston.
that
I
Tyler
shot
was
that.
on.
I was there. Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. It was super weird. I just know about it because that's when Tyler got on.
Before I ruined my Red Bull relationship.
There you
My mouth.
It's all right.
Yeah. But I always like, all right, he throws a hat in there.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right,
Yeah.
how much am I getting paid? You know, like, what do you, like, how does it work? Because it seems like cart and horse. Like,
Yeah, so at the time...
Yeah, because what if you're like, nah, I'm good.
yeah, like, no, I actually got another offer here, Luke. You made this really awkward
so
for
at
me.
the time,
I know.
Steve Swope was my agent.
Okay.
So Luke and Steve were doing all the dealings and everything on the back end
okay.
that I knew nothing about,
right.
you know?
Yeah.
I knew that I was in the running for a spot on the team,
Okay.
but like it was, from what I understood, it was me and a handful of other people.
Who'd you beat?
I don't even remember, to be honest. Like, I just remember like one time, this is a little off topic, but when I was in the running for this, Luke had come to Cleveland and we were all at Ray's mountain bike park.
Okay.
So Steve Cuesta at the time, I was like, "Hey man, I'm going up to Ray's. You want to go with me?" So I was like driving up, explaining to him what was going on, you know, the whole time, all he was trying to do is poach my Red Bull deal. It's so funny. And like, he doesn't ride Dew Tour or anything. He's like just trying to get in there somehow. He's so funny, but he's making all these jokes. He's like, "Yeah, like, you know, my agent sent me a deal for Blue Bull the other week, but I just, you know, I figured I'd wait out for Red Bull, you know." He's just like saying all this awkward shit. Anyways, but yeah, so he threw the hat at me and I was like, damn. Like, and in that moment in my head, I'm like, all right, everything's good. Like, this is dope, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So then he's like, yeah, we're going to take you to Phoenix and we're going to show you like one of Red Bull's distribution plants. We just want you to like see how things kind of work or whatever. And we're going to put you in front of like all the people that work there and you're going to talk to them. I'm like, cool, whatever.
Sounds awkward.
Sounds, yeah. I'm like, whatever, I'll go. I
Yeah.
don't care. You know, it's going to be fun. And so we're driving in the middle of nowhere, and then we end up at Kirby Chambliss's house, who is like a Red Bull air race pilot. So I got to go.
So you were literally, God.
Yeah, I got to go into Kirby's plane, and we pulled 6 Gs in it, and I was really close to passing out.
Yeah.
I got crazy tunnel vision. This was actually the moment.
I'm fine.
Watch, you can see my oh no, it comes later, I think, but you can see my eyes kind of crap out a little bit in one of the clips. But the most important takeaway that Kirby told me once we landed, here it is right here. The most important takeaway from that, he was like, "Hey man, Pastrana got in my plane and threw up." And I was like, all right,
I'm good.
Yeah, I would hate that.
Yeah, but we pulled 6 Gs. He flew the thing backwards. He basically drove the plane straight up into the air, and then he balances it and slows down till he's not going anywhere.
Fuck.
And then the plane shuts off because the airflow keeps the engine going from the front. At this point, he's flying it backwards, straight down towards the earth. And then it whips, and then he turns it and it whips around, and then the engine starts back up and he starts going again.
He's just push starting a fucking plane, basically.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I always think
That's
about dudes like that where you're like, yeah, he just like does that every day. You know, like you're like, this is what you do.
So
like,
so this is his hangar at his house. He lives in a pilot community, which is a thing. So it's a community where all these pilots live, and they have their own hangars that are separate from some are separate and some are connected to their house.
yeah.
And then they all share a runway. there's a community runway. So all these guys are just or all these people are just active pilots, and they fly whenever they want. Kirby had his own runway in his own backyard.
Wow, this poor guy.
So they're big properties, you know.
Yes,
I know, right?
That's sad.
But
sad people live like that.
It was a pretty crazy scene.
What yeah, I assume he was rich first, and then he got sponsored by Red Bull, because how do you learn how to fly a plane good enough?
I feel like I mean I don't know Kirby's
grassroots flight program.
I can't speak for
really
Kirby's story,
exists.
but I'm assuming like a lot of people that get into aviation
well-to-do,
probably come from some money or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, he's a world. Can't take it away from him. He is a world champion.
Yeah, I'm sure he's
like pilot, athlete, so on and so forth. You know.
Do a lot of people know that Dreamline is they have you to thank for Dreamline. You all right?
Yeah.
Got it. We do have a dog underneath the table.
I
honestly,
we had a moment in the kitchen, so I'm covered in hair.
Yeah.
And it's probably.
The Dreamline. That was essentially you.
Right. Yeah. And that was all me and Luke Seal.
Yeah.
And Adam Alois, of course. He was my go-to. On the
for
build.
Building it, right?
Yeah.
Can you explain how that all came about? I assume that's like what you're most proud of from the Red Bull time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, in leading up to before that, Elevation had come and go, and after Elevation and like going out to Australia and riding Cam White's yard, like I just developed this just love for really big dirt jumps.
Mm-hmm.
It's just. I'm a jumper at heart. Like it doesn't matter what bike I'm on. I think now I just like jumping, and anything on dirt is awesome. I'm psyched on it. So going into Red Bull stuff, it was always I'd always have to pitch different events or things or projects or whatever that I would want to do to Luke. And I was like, yo, this is like this project right here that, you know, Dreamline, this is like the end all project. This is my pinnacle project, you know. And Luke is actually a pretty smart guy. I know you wouldn't get that based off his looks by any means, but he is a really smart guy, and he spun it to Red Bull in a way like, hey, we're gonna build this secret training facility for Anthony in the middle of nowhere, and we're gonna fly him out to it a bunch, and he's gonna train for contests, right? So somehow he got all this budget for like Adam and his whole crew to be out middle of nowhere, Wisconsin, Wabasha, Minnesota. Is
Dreamline,
like right
what year is it? Just so I was trying to pull it up.
I think 2009, I thought.
Nah.
If it's not 9, it's 10.
And it's in Wabasha what?
Wabasha, Minnesota.
Wabasha, Minnesota.
Which is...
Dude, I think it was later.
Home of grumpier old men.
Well,
maybe it's 11. I don't know.
Let's see.
I think it was like 13.
Let's see if this is it first.
Riding at Dreamline.
No, that's the last one.
That's the last. That's
what year was that though?
2013. I don't
14.
know.
That was 13 based off when he posted it, right?
Yeah,
okay.
2013.
So try 12 then. Must be 12. Because I'm pretty. If
the
I
first
can
one was the best
correctly,
one. The first one was so fun.
I just can't remember if we like did one, skipped a year, did another, if they were back to back. I can't remember.
Yeah, but go ahead with the full
they
story.
were
I
right
didn't
in a
want to
row.
totally derail it.
So
I just wanted to bring it up.
2012. No, you're all good. So basically, you know, he pitched it as like a private training facility so that I could get ready for the contest season and blah, blah, blah. But we knew that if we built it like proper and made it look amazing and whatever, I had to go there and I had to film like a video project. It's see that one that says the ultimate, it was on the last page. See that one, the ultimate BMX dirt course. It's third one down.
Third one down.
That's the project that I filmed.
Okay.
For like my private training facility.
All right.
This video actually explains
the concept.
Kind of what I'm.
Okay, well then you'll just stop. No, I'm joking.
I'm done. Anyways, we knew if we built this paradise and we got some higher ups from Red Bull to come out and see it, they would kind of be forced to do an event at it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. And we got a list of riders together. Oh, actually, this is when they're all there. This isn't the video that I'm talking about.
Okay.
But this is the riders first coming on the first day of Dreamline.
This was the coolest one because it really felt like just a set. It wasn't like
Right.
It was just a good size. They were just good size. They weren't even like massive.
I
They were
agree with
just
Dennis
perfect.
too. Like the first one was the most. This is the original concept.
Yeah.
Like no judges, no stress. It's a jam. It's literally
Everyone
a
who
day
didn't-
at Caddy or Posh.
I think
literally.
there was something
It's a
where
super
like
session.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's literally just a session with all your friends. There's some people there. People are drinking, sitting by the bonfire. Like it's literally an East Coast summer day, any day at Caddy or
Yeah.
Posh, really.
Yeah.
You know.
And the last jump too,
This
though,
was
was
the
like
purest.
the biggest jump anyone had hit at the time. Like not anyone,
Right.
but like a lot of us.
Yeah.
I remember that. I was like, "Whoa! I never
Yeah.
gone that fast at a jump." It like changed, and then all the other ones were like, "All right, all of them were going to be as big as the last jump," which was fun, but it
Yeah.
kind of took away from the BMX feel and went like,
Yeah.
"All right, now we're like just trying to be huge jump guys."
Yeah.
The second one was on
The
steroids.
second one was over the top.
It
The
was
last one was sick,
insane.
except for if there was a tiny little bit of wind, the last jumps weren't fun at all. But
Right,
when there was
yeah.
no wind, that was like one
Yeah.
of the
So
best.
the
lines
second
ever.
one was New Mexico.
Second one was
Yeah.
New Mexico.
Yeah.
Mhm. And then the third
So
one
is it,
was,
so hold on,
uh,
before we move on from this is the one where Brian Foster has the commentary on it, the 360.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
that is
Yeah,
an
yeah.
amazing clip. I have
450?
no idea where to find it.
The 450.
The 450.
Yeah, the 450. Yeah.
He's just
It's
like,
probably,
he's like,
it might
oh,
be in
you
this, I
done
don't know.
fucked up now. Like, it's so good. Like,
Yeah.
Foster is another one that we should put on the fucking, maybe he'll be behind.
I remember that me and him were
for
at the
for
hotel, like
Dreamfest.
having a drink or something, and that 450 definitely came about that night.
Yeah. So after Dreamline 1,
Mhm.
NBC got involved
Yeah.
because Red Bull had Red Bull Signature Series, and they were highlighting events like Rampage and
this
like
is
a bunch
before
of
I
other
click
stuff.
it. This
That's the
is
second one.
that's the second one. Okay, and
Yeah.
I went to this
And
one.
see, you
And
can
this one was really fun too.
yeah.
But it was it turned
was
from like this
huge.
jam to like
I-
all right,
was
one at a time.
they were
runs.
scary.
Yeah, so once NBC got involved, they ruined it.
yeah,
The whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like hands down. I'm still mad about it to this day.
I could actually
Like,
tell. Yeah,
They hands down would not budge on anything. It's like, you know how when you're watching Supercross on TV,
Dude.
like if someone takes the lead, it switches when they hit the finish line again. It's like, oh, you know, Tomac and Roxon overcame Tomac or
Mhm.
whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So
Ooh.
they wouldn't develop, they wouldn't progress and like develop something new
Yeah.
for the jam format. They just wouldn't do it. So that's when
It
the
sucked.
second Dreamline, it turned into like one rider at a time. The judges need to focus and blah, blah, blah.
Dude, the last
they
one
just
they told
ruined
us
it.
it was going to be a jam, and me and Pat trained the whole time.
Yeah.
And just like we killed it. We thought we were
Yeah.
going to do so good, and we got like last, and they were like, "Oh no, we just took best runs, and we never did like tricks over every jump. We just
Yeah.
we're getting down the whole time. They
Yeah.
literally didn't tell us that, and like
It
the
was
placing
crap.
was so weird. We're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh no, we didn't tell anyone, but it was best run. And it
Yeah.
was like, whoa. And then that's when everyone was like,
Yeah.
fuck
And
this.
what's
They
funny-
they ruined that.
What's
Best
well,
jumps ever,
not
but
funny, but
ruined
like
the format
really shitty
from the
too
first
at the
one.
same time. So leading into Dreamline 3 when it was in North Carolina,
Mhm.
I knew because I had my Red Bull meetings for 2014 was my last year on Red Bull. So I already had my meetings going into 2015. So I already knew that I wasn't going to be riding for Red Bull in 2015. So
That's weird.
How did
yeah. So I went into the last Dreamline like I don't give a shit. Like I had the best time at Dreamline, don't get me wrong, but like I didn't try to like win my own event. I never really to be honest from the get-go, I never wanted to ride my own events that I was putting on.
Is this the last one? What
Yeah.
is- Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
so
the last
confused.
one.
All right.
So the
Fucking-
first one, like I chilled because I did the project on it and everything, and it would have been like not like I would have had way more practice than everyone
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh, you didn't ride the first one.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I rode in the jam, but I wasn't like judged or anything. I was
Okay.
just up there having a good time with everyone, you know? And then the second one, when it got more serious
line
with
was
NBC, I had a wrist surgery earlier in the year, so I couldn't ride the second one.
Okay.
Which honestly, the jumps were so big. It was like I
remember
was kinda
I remember
bummed.
Godziak, that fall that Godziak
That's when he
took.
came. That's when
Yeah.
he came.
He
out with
arrived.
it. Yeah, he
Yeah.
arrived.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
Pat
but
won.
Pat won, yeah.
He was-
yeah, Pat
just
won
showed
that
up
one.
and won
And
it.
And that was the other cool thing about Dreamline was we had like our set invite list like for Dreamline 1, but the little like kind of backstory on it was we wanted random people to show up and come ride too.
Yeah.
And then they were going to take like the riders were going to vote and bring in a couple wild cards of dudes that just showed up. So at Dreamline 2, Pat was one of those guys that just showed up uninvited.
Yeah.
And he got in there and he just won he won.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which
So-
is awesome. Which
and
was
that
the Cinderella story that Luke got mad at me for because of that fucking X Games piece. So, goddamn,
I
dude.
got
It's all
mad
coming
at
full
for that
circle
too.
now.
You got in trouble too?
I think we said the same thing.
Yeah, we said the same thing. We were on the same, but it wasn't bad, Luke.
No.
Fuck.
Just
It was
a
just saying. It wasn't
misunderstanding.
saying you did anything wrong.
No,
It was just
killed it.
saying that he fucking like was the undercard. That's it.
It
And
was
he
sick
came
that
out
Pat
and
came
fucking
and
did
won.
it.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
That was the
Sometimes-
point of Dreamline because like the first one,
right,
like
yeah.
you said, you were allowed to show up, and that's what was
Right,
sick
yeah.
about Dreamline.
Oh God,
And-
Hucker.
And as Dreamlines, and as the Dreamlines kept progressing,
He got out of that. Oh, no, he
no.
didn't. Got a little knockout.
and as Dreamlines started progressing, that little inside rule or that like little inside line about guys showing up was very like
Pushed away.
taken away
Yeah.
the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, so,
I mean, it happens all the time. It just
Absolutely.
once TV production gets in there and they start forcing a direction, even if it's not necessarily wrong, it just takes away from this
the
vibe and this
original
looseness.
concept
Yeah,
of the
and
whole deal. You know,
it crushes it. and it's,
like nothing will ever be like Dreamline 1
Yeah.
because after that it was all they changed it all.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it
like-
worked fine the way it was, and then they changed a couple things and it changes it drastically.
Yeah.
You know?
And even watching this now, like if it was that same format, you're like, this line was just as good. It was just like the vibes and stuff weren't the same. Like there was people
Right,
smoking
yeah.
blunt on the roll-in of finals in Dreamline
Yeah.
1. And it was the sickest thing, having beers. It was literally like just the best session ever.
Dude, the
And,
vibe
like,
was
there
beat up by this time.
Yeah, everyone was like, wait, what's
speaking
going
of
on?
beat up, that happened there at this one. We won't talk about that.
Oh
one.
yeah, that's right. Jeez.
Yeah.
That's one for somebody who experienced it.
Yeah,
We had
you
to
might
get-
need to
yeah.
have that. Was that guy on the podcast?
It,
yet?
Nastasio was on it,
Okay,
but
no,
we
that's
didn't
what I
talk
meant,
about that.
him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
you
yeah,
can
sorry.
take that
I
up
shouldn't
with
maybe
him.
have said that. Slipped again. That was actually not on purpose. I
Yes.
do want to say that, but
Sorry, guys.
yeah, no, I was shooting photos for Redbull at this one, and
Yeah.
and I was in the. You guys were all partying upstairs,
Right.
and I was downstairs working on photos, just being like the worst FOMO of my entire life. Like I wanted to be up there so bad. I could just hear it just escalating and
Yeah.
escalating and escalating, and I just
And then the bubble done popped.
yeah, and then it went.
We
So
should-
it was
let's-
sounded wild.
Yeah, we should get away from this one because now the
Yeah.
viewers are like, "Well, tell us."
Yeah.
Sorry,
So
guys.
well,
Let
so
him
let's
get
circle.
some.
Let's
Had to be
circle
there.
back. Let's circle back
There was
because
a fight between BMXers. Who cares?
yeah.
Yeah.
Really not that good of a story.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of alcohol involved. But
You've all
it
been
was
there
sponsored
before.
by beer. Well, it was.
It was, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so, yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure you ride with Chris Fox a bunch. You see that they're pushing the
Oscar.
Dale's Oscar Blues.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the same beer company that
Same beer
sponsored
Same
this.
beer company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, yeah, Oscar Blues.
Fucking sponsor the podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oscar Blues. This was their property because they had a brew, or they still have a brewery in the town that this is in called Brevard, or it's like just outside of Brevard, maybe
Okay.
Asheville. It's somewhere in the gray area. I don't know what the place is called, but they own this property and it's called the Oscar Blues Farm or something like that. And they ended up turning. So when this was all over, basically from this shark fin here and all the way up to the start, they tore those jumps. No, they left those jumps and they tore down the shark fin to the end of the line.
Makes sense.
And they made it into a gazillion other jumps.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they turned this place into a bike park called the
yeah.
Bike Farm.
That's
I think
sick.
it was.
That's awesome.
And it was there for a really long time. I think they sold the property maybe 3 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was there for a really long time. And this area is actually a huge cycling area. I think it's it's really hard to pronounce, but Mike McQueen lives out this way, and it's called
If you notice, Pat didn't do any tricks on the
something?
first jumps because
Yeah.
he didn't know. We both didn't know. We thought it was a jam, so we were just like getting down in the last ones. Like the last ones were the ones.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the first ones were just fun.
You had no idea
Yeah.
it was
No,
around.
we had no idea. Me and him. We trained most of it. This was when they made us go by ourselves. We're like, why? Like,
Pat's like, I'm getting a score. What?
yeah, no. They made us stop one time and do like single runs, and we thought the whole thing was a jam.
A
It was
jam,
so
yeah.
fucking annoying.
It was very confusing.
It was still really fun, but then this happened. We're like, look, Pat's like, I want to go to the top and do that run again.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
He was just getting down. Like he should have won the whole thing again for sure.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, this area is a big cycling area, and the Oscar Blues people still have their brewery there, and
Cool.
they actually had a bike company too called Reeb, which is beer backwards, and Zach Early rode
Genius.
for them. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Zach Early rode for them. I think during Dreamline 2.
Okay.
Because Zach was another guy where I was like, come out to Dreamline 1. It's going to be sick, you know? So he came out in his van, and Luke loves Zach Early too. So he kind of got a deal with Reeb for a while, and I think they're still building bikes actually out of Colorado. So they have like a brewery in Colorado too, I think, and then the stuff on
Crazy.
North Carolina, and yeah.
Um,
At least last I heard.
So you mentioned before this event, you knew you were getting off of Red Bull. How
Yeah.
does that? Just the timing of that is kind of crazy. And
Yeah.
was there a reason? Like, were you like,
You know, you're
just not the guy anymore?
I never got a reason for it.
Yeah.
At the time, I had, my third successful series of a dirt event.
Yeah.
We were 2 seasons into Ratitudes, which I thought was an excellent series.
It was.
That was
Yeah.
a cool show.
Yeah.
Hucker and myself and Bazanson and everyone really,
Yeah.
we tried to bring everyone in on that one. Things were great. Like I was doing work, I was trying my best, and I was still competing too.
Yeah.
So still landing on podiums here and there and doing double front flip no-handers or whatever, you know what I mean? Progressing the whole deal. So the meeting that I had with them was a huge shock to me.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie, I literally cried in the meeting.
Oh,
Yeah, I did. No joke. Because I poured so much of my heart and soul into everything I did. Dreamline, Ratitudes, the whole deal. And
Yeah.
I was literally so taken off guard. It was like someone pulled the rug out. you
yeah.
know?
It makes sense. It's definitely confusing when there's been a couple of them over the years, You're like, why is he off?
Yeah.
You know?
Those
Yeah.
pads are so
And
sick.
I never knew the reason for it. And obviously we can see there's like literally only in America, at least, there's literally 2 guys that ride for Red Bull.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
Garrett and Brock, I think.
Yeah.
That's it, right?
Is there, Durs?
He's like Venezuela, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, South
Yeah.
America.
Yeah.
Or
I don't
actually,
know.
he might be out of Austria now because he's
because
theirs.
his legacy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it just seems to me that budgets probably got switched around.
Terry.
They were taking. Oh yeah, Terry.
I was like, I know
His.
there's another.
I know his is a little different.
Yeah.
But Terry creates his own world. Like he's really good at what he does.
Yeah,
I wasn't saying
yeah,
that in a
yeah,
bad
yeah.
way.
No,
like
yeah.
he's so smart. Like he's
Well,
manipulated his contract in a way to where he's still there.
Yeah,
but
Flatland
he kills it.
Flatland
He
is
kills
something
it.
that like I know for a while he was doing these like college pop-up shows.
Yep, exactly. And, and a lot
like
of
think
that
of it.
was
Did you know about this?
Mm-mm.
So he would like it was just like, all right, I'm gonna activate like,
Yeah.
and he has a thing, and he just goes to college campuses. And he's like, it just starts fucking riding, and
Yep,
people are looking at it,
exactly.
and it's like he's like playing a guitar or something really good,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that style thing.
That's
street
more.
performance.
That's more so what I was getting
Yeah,
at,
and that-
without having an explanation.
And he's repping Red
fill
Bull,
it.
and he's like, "Here you go,"
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that type of thing. And that's
Yep.
like you can activate and make a presence really quick. You don't have to build
right.
shit.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So yeah, it's like when Hucker got off, I was like, damn, I felt like Hucker was just like
yeah,
his energy and
I
all this
know.
stuff, like just like it's sometimes it's
I
really
know
surprising sometimes.
when he told me he was getting off, I was like, well, dude, you had a great
what
run.
was that one? I didn't.
Superman C grabbed a whip and he just messed it up.
Hucker's like the essence of energy.
Yeah.
They had to change the definition when they got
Oh
rid
my
of him.
god. Yeah.
Yeah, but it is a bit. It's a business.
I mean,
man.
yeah,
Like,
it's
every
yeah,
year you
yeah.
get a check from
What's-
fucking
I mean,
energy
as we
drink
go
company.
through all
It's
these
like,
video clips that we're doing, you're like, it's not the first big sponsor like I lost. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
Yeah.
Target went away
Yeah,
at
yeah.
one point, Levi's went away at one point,
Yeah.
DC went away at one point, Amp went away at one point, Red Bull went away. Like I rode
So-
for Mophie Chargers at one point. That was a big deal too. Like money wise, that was a big deal.
Oh, really? Crazy.
And that went away.
Yeah.
You know, so
But I mean, when you get ones like Mophie,
Right,
I assume
yeah.
you think like, well, if I get this for 2 years, I'm pretty
Stoked.
hyped. Yeah,
Yeah,
like there's
yeah.
definitely ones like that where
Totally.
it's like it makes sense. But like a Red Bull, I mean, for a while, I always considered like Red Bull, you didn't get off a Red Bull. You know, like
yeah,
I thought
and
it
that's
was
what
like,
they pitched you when like you're getting signed, like welcome to the family, you're here
Yeah.
for life,
Yeah.
and blah blah blah. And then it's like, okay, maybe not.
okay, yeah, give me that fucking hat back.
But in all these experiences, I do my best, obviously, not to hold on to a negative. Obviously, there's still a little bit of negative energy with how the Red Bull stuff panned off. I just wish it would have been more transparent at the end.
Well, it's
And
nice
that
to
would have
know.
gave me like closure on it, you know, if they were more transparent. But I always try and take the positive from the stuff. Like literally, I went from that meeting in Santa Monica and I drove all the way to Menifee where Joey Cordova had FOD, and I had the best session of my life. I've never ridden that great in my life, you know? And
I had the same. You know, what's funny? I don't think I've ever talked about this. Is I had the same thing when I got fired from Ride. When Ride shut down, I went and rode my bike, and I had the best session.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I like rode great, and I was like, I don't fuck everything. You know, like, but like in a weird, like, I just need to ride bikes type sense.
Totally.
And yeah, so I can relate in that capacity. But
and the other ironic thing is I had to leave Santa Monica and go to FOD to film a promo for Red Bull Dreamline. But I had the best session of my life. I almost felt free in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then honestly, after that, my riding took a turn and I was like back on it. I like started doing the slow motion Monday thing on Instagram when videos started, and we had Wetlands, and I was just doing every Monday I would drop a full slow motion video on Instagram that was a combo or something, and it made riding fun again. It opened up like my ideas of riding and my creativity and the whole thing, and like even for contests, everything just took like a really good positive turn.
That's good.
And I was like feeling great on my bike again.
Yeah, it almost like seemed like you went from being known as a contest guy to like everyone got to see how good of a rider you are, like outside of big contests. Like your trail riding is something that a lot of people didn't get to see until that time when you took the Red Bull helmet off and just started cranking shit at Wetlands.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not that you weren't doing that the whole time, but you started showing it off a little more.
Yeah, totally.
Which was nice for everyone.
Yeah, it seemed like you kind of went from like doing what you thought you needed to do to
Yeah.
doing what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that always
You
looks
know,
better.
like-
That's that whole
Absolutely.
thing
Yeah,
about
yeah.
when someone gets to really
Yeah,
just
for
ride for
sure.
themselves and they get rid of that like worrying about what those big companies want or care about.
Yeah.
We said it a lot in the podcast, but
Yeah.
some people thrive off of taking that Red Bull helmet
Yeah.
off. or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. I mean, it's funny because Sergio said essentially he was like, I was relieved. He's like,
Yeah.
I was actually not sad at all. It was a huge relief for me. And
Yeah.
when I talked to him briefly when we did one of these,
Right, yeah.
what you wanted to do, even after you were off of Red Bull, there was talk of doing another Dreamline for a while, right?
Yeah, Luke and I had always thrown it around and tried our best to kind of make it happen, but it's just one of those things that never happened. It's a lot of money.
Yeah,
like,
I'm sure.
especially, I mean, we did the first Dreamline for, I think our budget was $300K.
That's crazy.
But when TV got involved,
Yeah.
it was over $1 million.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it's really, and I think at the time when we were talking about doing it, it was just finding sponsors and whatever so that even if we could break even on it,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like obviously most people put events on so they can make money. But at this point, Luke and I were like, we just want to do it because it was kind of where our heart and soul was. And like, if they broke even on it, then so be it. Like, at least we were doing something really cool for BMX, you know? But it was just one of those things that never came to fruition.
Well, shout out to you and shout out to Luke for creating 3 of the best dirt events in literally the history of BMX.
Yeah, because of you
know?
guys, it was
that's
like the
fucking-
best event. It was just some other people putting their hands in it that took the best event ever and turned it in their little thing.
Yeah, it just
but it
got
still was
weirder
like, dude, the
every
practice
time.
session after this was one of the best sessions of my
yeah.
life. When the wind stopped
Dude,
and there was no
same.
more cameras out, that was one of the best sessions of my whole life.
Same. After the contest ended, I continued riding with a bunch of people. And I was flowing, doing tricks, having fun, whatever. And I don't remember who it was, but they came up to me. They were like, where were all these tricks during the event? And I was like, I don't know, but they're here now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a session.
And plus, I didn't
But
want
that
to
was
ride
like
in my
that
own
was like
event either.
Dreamline
Yeah.
1 was that session,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And then
That was so
Dreamline
good.
2 that never really happened.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's-
never,
'cause
there was never
it
even
rained hardcore.
Yeah,
remember?
that one was actually sick.
Dennis got elevation sickness. He was messed up the whole week.
Oh yeah, New Mexico. Huh?
Yeah, that was fucked. I couldn't
He
even
pulled
like,
out of finals.
Dude, that was
Yeah.
was up there. It was like 8,000 some feet.
I couldn't even,
or
like, walk
something.
that
It was
day.
crazy.
I thought I was just like super hungover, but I was like,
I
no,
didn't even
something's
know
really
elevation
wrong.
sickness was a thing.
Me either.
until
I was
that
like, what's
event.
wrong with me?
I
It
was
was
like,
crazy.
whoa, Dennis is dying. This dude's dying.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
What else we got in here? We got some Levi's stuff.
I gotta bounce somewhat soon.
You do?
Yeah, before 2. It's like 1:30. So
Oh,
just,
well,
you
you're
know.
chilling.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have been going for a while
Yeah.
actually. Well, let's skip over Levi shit. Same fucking formula.
Same
You got
shit. You've
sponsored.
been sponsored
It was
by a
really
bunch of dope
fucking
people.
sick. You
was
did a bunch
great.
of cool shit. You wore purple pants.
You cried when they
Yep.
told you were getting
Yeah,
a
you
I
contract
didn't.
cut.
I didn't. But
Every big
but
company's like,
big, you know,
I love on the
The big
YouTube
t-
table of contents. It'll be Levi's and it'll be 16 seconds, and that'll be
the big shout out is Kathy McGrath.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
Levi's,
yeah.
and she really set the bar at the time for brands supporting riders in health insurance too.
yeah.
Because
yeah.
Levi's was like literally the first brand that they paid for our health insurance.
That's
We
awesome.
took out our policy and did what we want. And we just sent
They
them
just
the
added it in.
receipt,
Yeah.
you know?
That's sick.
And then I know a couple other brands around then picked it up. I think S&M picked it up
Yeah.
and was doing health insurance for some of their guys and blah, blah, or at least money towards it.
Yeah, subsidizing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So big shout out to Kathy. Love her to death.
Yeah.
I still talk to her to this day.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, I saw her like within the last year or two.
Yeah,
And it was like-
she's the greatest. It was awesome when we were going to Minneapolis for X Games because we would just go over her house and hang out.
Nice.
what's Anthony Napolitan now?
Yeah.
Man,
You're still in California?
I am. Yeah, live in Huntington Beach still.
You were just talking about in the kitchen about how your main spot's pretty much gone. So riding dirt
Yeah.
has been a
Yeah.
pain.
Yeah,
Let's
Wetlands
talk about
disappeared,
wetlands because
yeah.
I feel like that
Well,
was a
not
huge
disappeared,
staple.
Yeah. So I was on a mountain bike trip. I was on a long mountain bike trip actually. I went and did a web series filming thing with Greg Watts out in Virgin, Utah, which is the area that they hold Redbull Rampage. And then I drove all the way back to Monterey for this thing called Sea Otter, which is basically like inner bike for mountain bikes. And
We'll do one wetland
yeah,
session.
look at that. This is the edit you guys did, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
This
Cool.
is a good edit.
And then drove all the way back to Virgin for Rampage. So after all that fun stuff, I finally got home. I'm literally parked in front of my garage, and my car's running, windows are up. I'm literally just texting on my phone, and I see this thing moving on the side of my car through the window. I'm like, what the hell is that? I look over, and it's like this old man, and he looks lost, you know? So I roll my window down, and I'm like, hey man, are you all good? You know, you okay? And he walks up to my car and he just looks lost, man. I was like, dude, what am I getting myself into, you know? And he pokes his head in, cause I cracked the window down, right? And then he kind of adjusts to get his eye almost in the crack.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I think I'm lost. And I'm like, all right, well, who are you looking for? And he's like, are you Anthony? And I was like, yeah. And then he pulls out this big stack of papers and serves me.
Oh my god!
Weird.
Sneaky fuck.
Yeah, and I've never been served before.
Yeah. God, that would be so confusing.
It was, dude. I didn't know how to feel about it.
Yeah.
I wanted to kick, drop kick the dude, but at the same time he was old. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
He's only doing his job. But
What does that even mean, being served?
Yeah.
So basically, they serve you court ordered legal documents for stuff. So it could be a cease and desist, or maybe you're getting served because you haven't paid your child support or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Someone's coming after you legally, basically. So
they pay these guys they certify that you had it in your
Yes,
hands and
exactly.
now you know.
yeah.
Their job is
Yeah.
to make sure you
Yeah.
get it.
So long story short, because in this packet of information that they give me, it's a lot of information. It's email chains, a whole bunch of stuff going on between the plaintiff and the lawyers and this and that. So I had all these emails. So I had to just read through all this stuff, And basically what I gathered from the whole experience was the landowner of the property, who like we all had a handshake deal with about building and riding there.
That was my
whatever.
question, because when I talked to you about it, everything was cool. The guy was down.
Yeah. Super cool for years.
Yeah.
I mean, I built there for like 10 years up to that point.
And they had been there for a long time.
For longer than that.
Yeah.
Since the 90s.
20 years.
There's like my buddy Taka has photos from like way back when like S&M had little tents set up and there were like 3 jumps there. They've been there forever, you know? So he passed away, the landowner, and this is based off what I've read and maybe I'm assuming on some things, but I'm pretty certain, like I'm pretty good at reading the room or the documents. And I think that's what happened. So, he passed away and the property fell into a family trust. I know that for sure, that the property fell into a family trust. So once that happened, that's when the lawyers got involved. They were like, we need to clip all this stuff that's happening out there, blah, blah, blah. So
they're probably saying, hey, this is a huge fucking liability for you guys.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm not actually sure how, like what drew their attention to it or what, because we stay pretty quiet down there.
Yeah.
Like the trails would stay locked up. People knew when we were riding, anyone could come out, but for safety purposes and per request of the landowner at the time, like he just wanted stuff to be kind of locked up so nothing bad would happen there.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. We kept things locked up. We did weekly trash sweeps on the place because the place was disgusting when we started working on the trails originally. Bums everywhere, garbage everywhere. Just, it was not a good scene. So we cleaned up the place over the years, you know, and the landowner was thankful for that. Every time I'd see him once or twice a year. He'd come out, he'd walk his dog, whatever. He lived in Colorado, he lived in California. He was like back and forth a bunch. Anyways, so they wanted to shut the trails down or whatever. So I had to hire a lawyer, and
it's crazy they went straight to litigation, like straight to
seriousness.
So
what ended up happening was they were sending me cease and desist. But I wasn't receiving them. They were going to a prior address that I hadn't lived at. It was actually 2 prior addresses.
Oh.
So they were sending cease and desist to addresses that I no longer lived at.
Okay.
And I just wasn't getting them. So after no response of cease and desist, then they turned it into like a legal thing.
Okay.
I
That
guess.
makes a little more sense. Yeah.
So basically I had to hire a lawyer, and I kind of asked the lawyer, I was like, you know, should we fight this? He's like, no. He's like, you don't want to mess with these people. Yeah. Like and the paperwork alone was like intimidating as hell. You know, like I was going to have a heart attack almost.
Yeah.
So anyways, everything ended up being cool. I really only just had to pay for the lawyer, and that wasn't like a huge cost by any means.
So when you get these papers, first question, do you still go ride the trails? You go, oh, thanks for this paperwork. Now I'm going to go ride the trails.
No, I was scared pretty. I was scared pretty stiff after that.
And then second question is, why did they specifically target you? Why didn't they just destroy the jumps?
So based off the emails, they targeted me because I was the
figurehead in a sense,
most easily identifiable person to go there. Obviously, like based off social media, whatever, I probably posted something there daily. You know what I mean? So I was the most easily identifiable person. So then they were trying to hunt me down. And this is where a lot of the email exchanges came in, because they're like, we can't find this guy. He vanished. And it's just so funny to me.
Yeah, over the top.
It's so over the top when all they had to do was get on Instagram and type in my name and be like, oh, no, he's in Virgin, Utah. Like on the...
Or here's a DM. Hey, we've been trying to get a hold of you. Can you
something. I don't know.
Give me a call.
Live in the legal system's not living in the whatever century we're in. 21st century. I don't know. Anyways. So yeah, long story short, I basically had to post a written statement to all of my social media platforms. Like anything that I have a username under, I had to post this thing. And it was like a statement that they wrote out And it was like a really funny statement because they were saying dirt bikes and like, oh, it was just so you could tell.
Did you quote it, or did you actually make it seem like it was from you?
No, I had to quote it.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I had to legally post what they
and then what's
gave me.
What's the threat? Like, if you don't do this, we're going to like sue you.
Yeah. So for me, the terms were I could never step foot on the property ever again.
Yeah.
And if I did, they were going to move forward with legal stuff. And then my lawyer was telling me that they weren't even going to close the case. They were going to leave it open-ended so that if something were to happen there or whatever, they take on some costs tearing the jumps down or whatever unfathomable event could happen there.
Yeah.
They kind of wanted to have someone to fall back on to blame. And I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I'm agreeing to all this stuff. I'm doing all this stuff. Like, just close the case, you know? So for a long time, I didn't think they were going to close the case. And then one day my lawyer hit me up. He's like, hey, congratulations. They officially closed the case. Like, wipe your hands free of all the drama and whatever you're holding on to, you know?
When is this? I'm trying to find this statement. January. I'm at January right now. Is it last year?
Keep going. It's the year before, I think.
Oh, okay. So you're still allowed to post clips from there.
Yeah. I mean, there was nothing in there about it.
Yeah.
So, and there it is.
Oh,
yeah,
right
there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Recently come to my attention that the vacant property near Balsa Chica, sometimes referred to as Wetlands, is privately owned. The owners have indicated that those using the property will be prosecuted for trespassing, and the commission has indicated that the continued use of the property by dirt biking will constitute a violation of the Coastal Act. Accordingly, I will not be using this site in the future for dirt bike jumps or any purpose whatsoever, and I urge all of my followers to also refrain from going upon the property for biking or any other purpose. That is a funny statement. Yes.
And I was like, you know what? I will gladly post this.
Yeah, because this is hilarious. And I am sad, but this is a laugh.
And I forgot about the California Coastal Commission. So I don't know if you know anything about the Coastal Commission, but they're just another group that's a pain in the ass for everyone, I think.
Yeah.
So once they get involved with things too, it's and honestly, that's probably what triggered it was the Coastal Commission. So that was kind of one of the things that triggered the whole deal.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, fuck, dude. Same thing as a sponsorship.
Yeah.
You expect a trail spot shortly off the coast of predominant beach town in Southern California to not last more than a couple of years.
We had a great run, man.
Yeah.
I literally solid 10 years of digging. The spot grew, more jumps were added. Like it was...
Yeah, especially
amazing.
like not in the trees and in like a visible area of a neighborhood.
Yeah,
That's
you could see the beach from where we were. We were up high on the ridge, and it was like, and they're downhill trails too. So you were flying and
it had like
back.
Stadium seating.
It really did. It really did.
It was cool.
I only went there once.
Yeah,
it was so fun though.
Yeah.
That probably had to be more of a bummer than like losing Redbull. Probably because you're like, I can't go fucking take that aggression out. Like that is, you know, like it's your number one spot.
So at the time the Fullerton Trails, so James Murphy and a couple dudes were building this Fullerton spot a little farther north. And just before this, their spot got plowed.
Yeah.
So a lot of those guys, which live in Orange County, and they were commuting to Fullerton to do that spot anyways, they just kind of came to Wetlands and started helping us. So at the time it was a bummer because the scene was like really strong, you know. I could like go on trips and not have to worry about what was going on the trails because I know those dudes had it locked down. They know what needs fixed. They know how to do everything. Like they're capable of hosting sessions for whoever want to ride any day of the week. You know what I mean? So in a sense, like, it was becoming like an easier thing because I was like, you know, if I saw rain coming, I'd be like running out there and tarping things up by myself, you know, moving huge rocks and cement things and just trying to get everything dialed. Like I was like really OCD about the place because
it's yours.
And it's literally the only trail spot in Southern California that could ride 24/7, 365 days a year.
You don't like sheep?
I like sheep, but for different reasons. But you know what I'm saying? Literally it could downpour, and because I'm from the East Coast, I know drainage. Yeah. And I built my own trails on the East Coast too. So everything had drainage. Literally all I had to do was rake flat bottoms like 4 hours after a rain, I could almost ride. If I went out there in the morning, rake flat bottoms, dead of winter, I could probably ride in the evening.
Yeah.
So,
I got a weird question.
Okay.
Like, I feel like, so since we changed, we obviously had like the dirt Nora Cup, and then it switched to the trail award right now. Do you feel like you're part of the trail community? Because I think I consider you like like a trail rider, but do you think like, because you've never been in the running for that, you have gotten a couple of votes, but I feel like kind of that inner trail community that votes doesn't necessarily like, old Redbull guy, the 3 turn now, know, like no offense. The twang I just put on that was kind of rude.
I feel like there is a weird, I think there's just a disconnect between
Southern California.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because everyone is like, no, Southern California has dirt jumping spots, like they're not trails.
Yeah.
I've heard that a lot of times.
Yeah.
And to be honest, Wetlands was trails to me.
Yeah.
Like, yes,
it was like one line of trails.
It wasn't as expansive as
right.
somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, we worked really well with the area we had, and like my thing was like I wanted to make more hips and more lines and more crazy things. I had this like vert wall berm that we built on the side of one of the landings, and like there was all kinds of crazy stuff down there.
Yeah.
I think when it went from like dirt rider of the year to trail rider of the year, maybe it was just weird timing, or maybe I just wasn't even considered at all. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I have heard a lot like, California has dirt jumps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
I don't know.
Is kind of
but yeah, I mean, I'd love to. It sucks because I don't have like my own spot anymore, and I think like a lot of the Nora Cup stuff is obviously eyes on. Like Logan's gonna win a transition rider of the year or ramp rider of the year because like he's winning the Olympics. He's like he's very visible, as to where sometimes in BMX, and it's partially my fault. Like I don't always stay visible, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm always posting, doing my thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm always posting whatever, but sometimes I'm just not visible,
Well, let's talk about everyday Anthony right now. Are you still riding BMX, but obviously you've been dabbling in mountain bikes.
Yeah.
Not even dabbling. You
full on.
Yeah, full on.
When you're scrolling through his Instagram, I was about to say you got like so much mountain bike stuff going on.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah. There was
like wetlands, throwbacks, and mountain bikes.
Yeah. There's a point in time, and a lot of my recent stuff for BMX is throwbacks because I had to have a wrist surgery for carpal tunnel release. And that's been keeping me off the bike until recently. I just started riding like a week ago.
Is there like a YouTube video that I should look up like that sums up your mountain bike riding? Because honestly I don't.
I have my own YouTube channel.
Plug.
It's not super consistent by any means. Hey, that's me. It's a lot of it's mountain biking, a lot of it's like mountain bike checks and stuff like that.
You're doing like more racing stuff than like, because a lot of the dudes what are you
doing?
I'm kind of bouncing around in a lot of different stuff. Yeah. Okay. So I enjoy the mountain bikes because it's like kind of completely opposite end of like what I do on the BMX, you know? I do enjoy doing tricks and stuff on the mountain bike as well. That's another, part of riding that I do on the mountain bike, but I enjoy like kind of the fitness aspect of it and that challenge. So I'll go out and climb 1,500 feet in a morning and do all the downhills and whatever, ride for 2-3 hours and then kind of peace out. I'm like, wake up at 5:30
dawn.
And like, I like to be out there when the sun's coming up on the trail.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. I like it. And then I have a lot of friends like kind of in the mountain bike industry or just really like, I guess, brands that sponsor action sports industries. I don't know what you call that, but action sports industries.
Yeah.
Anyways, that are into mountain bikes. So usually I'll meet up with those guys before they go to work and ride, and then they go to work, and then I kind of get on with BMX for the rest of the day. So I generally try to ride mountain bikes and BMX in the same day, though. It's mountain bikes in the morning, BMX in the afternoon.
Okay.
So that's kind of like my daily whereabouts. But I got into it. I bought my first mountain bike. Well, actually, Lee Ramsdale gave me my first mountain bike. We were at the Australian X Games, and he was telling me what.
Just trying to think when I was there.
I think it was
My brain is
The one in
mush.
Sydney?
I don't remember if that was 17 or 18.
Yeah, it was ride days. It was
Either
17
way.
or something.
Yeah. So he was like, yeah, we have all these extra like demo bikes that we can't do anything with. He's like, I'll send you one. I'm like, sick. So he sent me a Mongoose, and I was riding around on that thing. And that's kind of what opened the door to me. Prior to that, like my brother's always been very open-minded about cycling. Obviously he's a killer BMX rider, but not many people know that like once he had his knee surgeries, he started riding road pretty hardcore. So he kind of got me outside of the bubble and seeing like, oh, road riding's fun too. So I would like do road rides with Ronnie, and then he started getting into mountain biking. And then next thing I know, I was like renting mountain bikes from his local bike shop to go mountain bike riding with him. Just trying to keep like that whole cycling connection, because like I talk to him every day. Like we're FaceTiming, we're really close siblings.
Your actual brothers.
Right. Yeah. So he kind of got me into it, and then Lee gave me like my gateway bike, and then once the Goose started falling apart, that's when I started looking into like, okay, what do I want to buy, So I knew someone that worked for YT Industries at the time, and that was already a company that I was looking into buying a bike, because they're great looking bikes. They're clean, like checks all the boxes for me, basically. So I got a really good deal on a bike. I bought it, and basically how the story goes is, actually I bought the bike in end of 2018, was riding a ton. And then I got the job opportunity to go to Park City and build Woodward Park City with Kimmler and Wessel and all those guys. So I literally left Southern California with a 3-bike roof rack and then a hitch rack with 2 bikes. And I had 5 bikes that I was taking. I had all the bikes. I had like my BMX bike. I had my dirt jumper, which is like a 26-inch fork suspension bike, and then a downhill bike, and I think I took my road bike with me too, and then a trail bike. So I had all these bikes with me. But Park City is like a mecca for single track riding style, like mountain bike stuff. And I was able to when I wasn't working, I was able to progress a lot on my mountain bike skills, which are completely different skills. Like there's a
Wait,
lot
what did you say? I wasn't working? Oh, because you're working at Park.
I wasn't working,
at Park City.
Yeah, so like after work, or on the weekend, which was one day off.
Yeah.
But I was able to progress those skills, which are like a lot of skills transfer over from riding BMX to the mountain bike. But there's gearing and front brakes, which I never really have had on my BMX bike, except for when I just grew up like riding flatland at the beginning. You know? So I was able to kind of fine tune those skills on some of the best trails in the world. And while I was doing all that, I was starting to become more comfortable with posting stuff on social media about like riding mountain bikes. Yeah. Because I didn't want to like post something about me riding a mountain bike and I just look like a goon, So that's when I kind of started posting riding mountain bikes on social media, and YT kind of had their eyes on it once I started posting.
Okay.
And
so the brand that you bought the bike from ended up hooking you up.
Right. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, basically, they started hooking me up.
What?
And that was right around, I think I signed my first contract with YT, end of 2019. So when I got back from Park City.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What, what kind of mountain bike rider are you? Are you doing events? I
am, yeah. So I started off.
But you're not doing like what Nyquist did and what Drew did.
No,
like that you're
no.
like.
For some reason, I don't want to compete like on a freestyle level. Like I don't want to do the same thing that I've been doing on my BMX my whole career, but on a different bike. I do enjoy riding that bike, and it is fun to to do tricks and like more or less have fun on that. But that's not really why I got into riding mountain bikes. So I don't want to like veer too far off of like what keeps me motivated.
Yeah.
Which is the whole experience of going through BMX and into this mountain bike career has been really cool because it's almost like a second chance at fixing all the things that you think you did wrong in BMX. Like burning yourself out or like, you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
And like you kind of get another shot at it, you know? I've kind of been thinking of it in a way like that, just like for keeping it fun and coming up with different concepts on how I can help YT and all the other mountain bike brands that support me to make mountain biking look cool or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So man, I was kind of getting on a tangent there. Let me think here.
No, but I mean, I think the separation is like, I mean, I don't know if I broach this idea, but I always feel like my problem with it most of the time is when I see somebody just riding BMX on a mountain bike. Is like you're literally like there's like the street dudes that like there's literally street mountain bike dudes.
Oh yeah.
You know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like
yeah.
and it's like it's an oxymoron. It's jumbo shrimp.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
like it's like and it's difficult when it's like you're literally just doing like a Smith 180 on the ledge right now. You know, like
but that might be the bike that they just have the most fun on.
It is, but it's like
whatever.
but they also in their pro like the one dude I'm thinking of literally has like street MTB, and there's a guy that rides with Felix and he does like a bunch of 5 cabs downstairs and stuff like that, and it's like just call it I just ride BMX and that's what you're doing. Like that's more my like, that's my gripe.
Yeah.
You know, like but the whole
like Dylan Stark is also on YT.
Yeah, Dylan Stark is a fucking maniac on whatever he is on.
But what about if you took your BMX bike and tried riding it down Rampage? And
I'd be mountain biking.
Would you call it mountain bike BMX? That'd be your thing.
No, I'd be mountain biking.
No, it'd be mountain bike BMX, just like that guy puts whatever in front of his thing.
I wouldn't. That's what I'm saying is that I wouldn't. If I put on, if I
use the right tool for the right job, you know what I mean?
But that dude you're talking about is super dope. Like he looks sick. Like I've seen him, the guy who rides with Felix, and
if I just decide to like play tennis with a baseball bat, am I playing baseball or am I playing tennis?
If you could do it good, I'd be like, fuck.
Like
sick.
if I'm doing it good, but I'm also like he's playing tennis with a baseball bat.
Well, you're inventing something new.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know.
So would you call it baseball tennis or tennis baseball? Who cares?
Then you're an innovator.
Exactly.
You're an innovator. Then
I'm a hater.
That's a new game. That's a new game.
It is a new game.
Invented, you know? Like for instance, I brought Dylan's name up because he is doing a lot of like street stuff on the mountain bike.
Yeah.
And for mountain biking, those are grounds that really haven't been explored that much. You know.
Yeah.
And you know, I think it's just like each aspect of cycling is kind of has its own tunnel vision on what it's supposed to be or what it's doing.
I think that sums me up very well is tunnel vision.
Sure. Yeah. So I think it's kind of cool to see Dylan do that stuff because it's showing people like, hey, this is possible or it's all fun on bikes in my opinion, you know?
Yeah.
And to each their own always, you know, I don't pick on people's riding. Like if you're having fun, then you're having fun. I don't care, you know?
That is one thing that I do. Obviously, I support people do whatever they want,
right,
of course. But
this
is, we talk, so I have to say words at some point.
No, totally.
You know?
It's good. It's a good conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I agree. I love like BMX and what it is, but it's like pretty cool to be able to look at other bikes and like recognize skill and what people are doing. And instead of worrying about like, oh, they're taking away from BMX's shine. It's like, who cares, you know? Everyone's just doing bikes.
But I mean, I don't know. This is maybe another one for another conversation. But at a point, if it's like if street mountain bike becomes a thing, what industry do we have left?
If street mountain bike becomes a thing, and they're like, let's just say their bikes are
an industry where there's guys on mountain bikes doing street, and an industry where guys on BMX are doing
it just adds another thing. Maybe. It's like where mountain biking is like everyone is down with everything, and there's like you go to the Crankworks thing and there's like 18 different events, but it's all like we all mountain bike, whereas BMX, you know, it's like we're BMX, like we don't hang out with the race guys. Flatland's on their own, street's doing this thing, and the park guys are over in the Olympics. It's like, why can't we get a little bit more united?
Unity
Isn't
I don't know what was that? That's a company too, right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
But but then there is like the media sites, you know, ourbmx and Dig, and you guys post everything, so it is united. It's just more spread out across the boards.
Yeah, I think that's just my you know, I like it's cool that it's like you have a separation is what I'm getting
Right.
at. Is
Oh, okay.
because
Gotcha,
because
yeah.
like
Okay.
because you say, because you're like, yeah, I'll keep the BMX shit BMX.
Yeah.
And like I want to fucking roast and do a 3 turn down on
Totally.
my BMX bike.
Exactly.
And I'll fucking rip a berm and climb
Yep.
a fucking mountain
Yeah.
and do my thing on my mountain bike.
Yeah.
And I think that's
I like that.
I
yeah.
think that's cool. And when it gets blurry is where I have a
yeah.
you know, like I
Yeah.
literally like I've thought about this. It was like it would take some legwork, but I literally was like, I'm going to do an entire episode, call it "Is It BMX?" And just like, yeah, we'll watch videos and like, is it BMX or is it not BMX?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
at a point, it's like,
Well, you know,
it doesn't, because it doesn't, to me, it doesn't matter. You could ride BMX on a fucking beach cruiser.
Yeah.
There's a dude that jumped over the fucking wall at the Cocos or whatever,
Yeah.
you know?
What
like,
even
stuff like
BMX
that,
is
but
though is taking from
he let him out. Well, he's tired of us.
it's
arguing.
literally the name of it is taking one sport and turning it into
Oh,
another
of course,
one.
yeah.
Bicycle
It's
motocross. It's
it's
the worst
mimicking,
name ever. We
yeah.
should change
You know,
that name because
it's-
BMX is such a baby still. Bicycle motocross. Mountain biking is mountain biking. It's like MTB. Why is BMX BMX? It should be. Why we had the best name for it the other day.
Well, but literally,
change the name.
Literally, exactly.
All terrain biking.
you were just
ATB.
You were just.
Can we turn it to ATB?
You were just disagreeing with me, and now you're saying they should change the name. That's what I'm saying. Is they should change the name. Street mountain biking is not a thing. I mean, they should change the name.
What does he call it? Street mountain biking.
He literally says street MTB.
I mean, I don't know. He
I don't
doesn't even
know.
speak English.
I was trying to come up with like some letters for it, but I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
All terrain
But, I
biking. 'Cause
mean-
that's what a BMX
I
bike is.
mean-
We're not bicycle motocross.
Yeah.
Think of
Like
it
that's
this way
so
though.
old school.
Like a lot of the the moto freestyle guys, right?
Yeah.
A lot of their tricks came from BMX.
Yeah.
But no one cares anymore.
No, I
Like
mean,
it's they're doing, you know what I mean? I don't know.
yeah.
I feel like that's what
No,
that
but
is,
like what Dylan Stark does is like he's doing all these fucking drops that are impossible, like the El Toro thing,
Right, yeah.
impossible on a BMX
Yeah.
bike, undeniable.
But then he
Half
crank
the
arms the
drops-
rail on a downhill bike, and it's like okay.
It's funny. That was more fun, you know. Like
Yeah,
like
so
that's
yeah,
it's-
but to a different viewer, that's mind blowing.
Oh, I was thinking
know?
of the Rampage one, like in his video part and stuff. He's
Oh,
crank
yeah,
arming
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like,
But to a different viewer from another perspective, like the mountain bike community, what Dylan's doing on his crank arm down at rail is like mind blowing.
They don't even know what a crank arm grind feels
exactly,
Yeah.
and they don't. And,
Yeah.
But they probably never even seen one on a BMX.
But then a BMX bike
either.
doesn't know what a downhill bike feels like to bunny hop.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it kind
it's
of
like like the equivalent of like
like-
making like a really
Dylan's the
like
only
a
one that knows what
fucking-
that feels like.
Right.
an,
It is
an
impressive as
Astro
fuck.
van really fast in a quarter mile. You know, like it's like
He's doing his own thing.
literally. It's like yeah, like you could do it.
Yeah,
you know,
he's the
like,
only one that knows what a crank
You made it
arm on
harder.
a big
You
rail
made it
feels
harder
like
on
on a mount.
yourself.
Yeah.
Well, back to the origin of the
Instead of
question.
using the right tool for the right job. But that dude we were talking about that brought the whole conversation up. He looks good on that bike, and that's what he likes. That's like where
Yeah, and he can. That dude should do whatever the fuck he wants to do. Not
You
give
don't
a
like the
shit
name.
about what I say,
Yeah.
but I have an opinion.
Yeah, you do. It's
So
a good
that's
opinion.
A lot
you
of
know,
I
so.
think a lot of that. Well,
ATB.
there's like
No more
there's like
BMX. We're
trials
all-terrain
riders, too,
biking.
where they're
Better
like
name.
on those weird handlebar. It's like a mountain bike, but they have the real forward handlebars, and they're hopping.
Oh,
Trials?
trial
That's
stuff.
like the
yeah,
trial
I mean,
stuff.
we talked about
There's
Danny
so many-
Macaskill and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah,
that. Like
exactly.
he's a hybrid of
Yeah.
everything.
Exactly,
You know,
yeah.
like
That's why everyone
that's
can
like-
relate to him because like mountain bikers see what he's doing. Like
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
relatable to every bike.
I mean, what's that fucking dude, the road bike freestyle? What's it called?
Shoot, I don't.
the dude
even
did
know.
the
There's some new
backflip at
stuff
home
for me.
app.
Yeah, he did the
No, this is
backflip
actually
at home app.
old.
Oh God, is that it right there?
Why is BMX?
What? Yeah, that
dying?
guy's a fucking nerd.
Let me see it.
Why BMX is quietly dying.
It's got a lot of views. We should watch that on another
We should
podcast.
watch another one because that he did a thing on fucking Mira too. He's just a fucking
Is he a BMXer or just?
no.
someone
He's just
gets-
he literally got
You
fucking.
must watch a lot of his videos because it's all the ones that are popping up.
That's
because we're saying BMX and the computer hears
yeah.
us.
No, because I watched.
Computer
You could
hears
see which
us.
ones I probably watched. Why is will this kill? Will this sport kill BMX? Which
What
one is
sport
he?
is this?
He's talking about mountain biking.
It's talking about downhill mountain biking.
Yeah, free
which
ride.
is not-
But he like does he literally just does his shit.
Oh, he
like,
does everything.
Like literally like does a fucking book report, and then that's it. You know,
What's
and
that?
it's just like
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting ones.
he just does like I don't know.
yeah.
That'd be a good one to bring up
Well,
on
the
BMX news.
the origin of the original question was, what type of riding do I do? I
Yes,
believe?
what
And we
type of
got
riding
really-
do you do?
So I do.
You never answered the question, so we
I
just
know,
started talking about other
I know,
shit.
right? I do a little bit of everything. Like my first event that I ever did on a mountain bike was a downhill race. So I raced like an expert race or whatever and got second or third or I think it was third or whatever.
In your first one?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And but it was an expert. I didn't race pro because I would have literally been racing Gwyn, Aaron Gwyn. But anyways, I got third in my first expert race. And at the beginning, I was having a lot of fun with racing. Still to this day, I race a lot of dual slalom. Kyle Straight puts on these races called Straight Acres, and they're just
I went to it.
awesome.
It was fucking nuts.
Yeah, they're awesome.
It's crazy.
They're so much fun.
Yeah, Kyle's.
Oh, you did one at his house?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, he does one at his house, and then one
shot
at
it for
Big
Monster.
Bear, and then I flew to Colorado and did one. But it's fun. It's just head-to-head racing.
Yeah,
and
it's
I don't
sick.
take it seriously at all.
It's
like,
two tracks that are exactly the same?
yeah,
that's
they
cool.
run
And I
side
think
by
they,
side.
do they flop? So you have like,
and then you got to flop, and you
Yeah.
have to ride both. You have to race in both lanes at some point.
I mean, the one at Kyle's house was like
Yeah, it's
pretty steep,
Yeah.
but small too.
Uh-huh.
Like, and it was like, so going over the berm was like a fucking option
Right.
the entire
That's sick.
time. It was
and it's
pretty
all
wild.
timed, and they combine your times from both lane, and then whoever has the least amount of time is moving. It's all
Yeah.
bracket racing,
Super
whatever.
cool. Yeah.
But I have a lot of fun doing it. It's cool.
Yeah.
Like, get out there, meet new people, have new experiences, and I don't take it too seriously because I don't think like racing dual slalom is like what I want to do like as a career or something. You know, it's not like chasing a Dew Cup, but I have fun and the people are cool. So I try to go to as many dual slalom races in a year as I can. The other thing that I really enjoy is the Fest series. Have you guys ever seen the Fest series? They have a YouTube. If you
It's the
Google
one with the
Fest
motorcycle. Is that what I'm thinking of?
series. Sometimes guys on dirt bikes come and they're like part of it, but they're basically
I'm thinking of like Loose
actually this is
Fest
a really
or something.
good. Yeah, Loose Fest is part of Fest series.
Is it Fest series?
Yeah, Fest series. So this is actually
Are you trying to
really
leave?
this is actually a really
Yeah, I gotta leave in
good
a sec,
tie-in. So Fest series was actually created because of Dreamline.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
What, so you go ride these?
Yes.
You do? I never seen you at these.
Yeah. So, well, I try to get to all.
I
well,
filmed with the fucking.
with
I was
COVID
like,
and
is this full whole
everything-
thing filmed with the VX or something?
With COVID and everything, Fest Series came to a stop for a while.
Okay.
So they started picking back up on them last year. I went to Free Ride Fiesta, which is like a Fest Series style event last year, and then Nico Vink, he's like one of the originators of Fest Series.
Okay.
Who actually told me about the Dreamline comparison.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was like, you guys did Dreamline and you guys were hitting these huge jumps and whatever, and that was like the inspiration for them to push this style of riding, like Fest Series big jumps style of riding, which was really cool because I had met Nico at a
So
Fest
wild.
Series event in Oregon, which is originally one of the events that I went to in mountain biking where I really got turned on to mountain biking. I was like, man, this is such a fun time. I borrowed Graham Aggie's bike at the time, and I went through half of the course. Actually, Christian Regal was there. Christian was helping film some of that Fest Series. It was called Black Sage. It was up in Oregon. And we just borrowed dudes' bikes and started riding, and it was so much fun.
Yeah.
And that's where I got like the mountain bike itch for real. But yeah, I try to get to as many of these as I can. Nico just did Royal
How do people like
Fest.
know when these are going on? Is there like an Instagram or something that tells you?
They do have an Instagram.
This looks so
but you
sick.
kind of have to be on like an internal like email chain with them. So like Nico emailed me. There hadn't been very many Fest Series that happened last year because they're trying to get sponsorships back and get everything.
Looks
to
like
do
it's a
these.
fucking production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Nico had hit me up in like August, like a week before. He's like, hey, we're going to do Royal Fest in Belgium. Like, can you come? And I was like, dude, I already have stuff planned on those dates that I have to do, So hopefully this year in 2023, I'll be making it out to a lot more of these. These are really fun events and like kind of just right up my alley with my jumping background.
I mean, it seems like they're like not even. It's just more about jumping the jumps at this point.
Totally.
Like,
yeah.
Like,
I mean, there's like this.
I'm sure that- I'm
which
sure
one
they
is
get a
this?
li- I'm sure they get a
there's
little
fronty,
buck.
No
Yeah,
hander.
yeah.
Like there's definitely some stuff that goes down, but they are just like Dreamline. It's a jam.
Yeah.
There's no like runs. Literally, if you were there, you wouldn't even know like there was anything being. It's all judged by the riders.
Yeah.
and you wouldn't, if you were there, you wouldn't even realize that like there's an event happening. It's just like a jam for 3 or 4
What's
days.
this one called?
Oh, crazy.
What is this one? Fudge or Loose Fest?
Fest.
Oh,
Pulse.
So
this
is
was in
Dark Fest the
Poland.
same thing?
Dark, yeah. So, well, there's a lot of political stuff behind it all, but Dark Fest was part of Fest series, and now, from what I understand,
It's drama.
they're kind of on their own thing.
Yeah.
But like I know Nico Vink and a couple other guys kind of manage like the actual Fest series property.
What parallels can you like? I don't know. What's the difference between the mountain bike industry and the BMX industry? I guess, like, I guess like having dabbled in both of them. Yeah.
From my perspective and like personally. Well, I'll tell you the things that I really enjoy about the mountain biking side. And not that I don't enjoy it from the BMX side, but as you guys know, I'm a little OCD.
Mm-hmm.
Like whether it's building a jump or taking care of my bike or whatever the heck I'm doing. I enjoy like kind of the internal like marketing and like the contract, like the business side of it. I really enjoy because it's very put together. Like every brand has a yearly or a quarterly push for exactly, like they know exactly what they want to do.
Yeah.
They're prepared on marketing, like all the tools to do whatever they want to accomplish, they're there. And they keep the riders linked in with it. And like everything is just really neatly set up. Like there's always something going on too. Like they make being a pro rider really easy because it's like, I don't really have to come up with like my own stuff necessarily to keep like a sponsorship afloat. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Yeah.
So,
completely self-motivated and
Right.
like self-managed, you know, where it's like almost a little more structure that helps a lot of people.
it's the structure. It's
Yeah.
exactly the structure that I love. I love the internal structure of it all. And like might seem like a weird term because like, you know, technically us riding bikes, whether it's BMX or mountain bikes, like it's work, you know?
Yeah.
But they make working way easier, you know? And, you know, there's a lot more funds in mountain biking just because of I think the way the industry's directed, you know, mountain biking is literally pointed at dentists, doctors, whoever wants to spend 10 to 15 G's on a bike, you know, as to where BMX is kind of projected towards a younger group of riders that probably aren't old enough to have jobs yet and afford the stuff they want to buy. You know what I mean? So obviously that helps a lot. Like I've been traveling nonstop. It's been great, like traveling all over the world for mountain bike stuff.
And you also have a lot of, I felt like looking at your sponsor list, you have ODI, Profile, Maxis. And so it's like kind of you've been
and that's something
like he's
that I
lucky
did on
in that
purpose.
sense because it's like
he's got a little of that move to both.
Yeah,
that's something that I did
Sponsors
on
that go
purpose
back and
too.
forth.
Because when I started to step into it, you know, I've ridden for Maxis tires since 04, 05. It's been
insane.
Super long
Yeah.
time. And Profile is, I think Matt sent me my first pair of hubs when I was still in high school. So the same deal, like 04.
Yeah. God, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, and it just so happens, you know, like Maxis is the leader in mountain bike tires, you know, and Profile also makes mountain bike gear, which most people don't realize. And that's been another cool side is I can make people more aware that Profile also makes mountain bike stuff.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, there's so many people that have
dabbled in they rode BMX
like,
for a little
they've
bit.
Come out of the tunnel vision and they're seeing more avenues of riding bikes,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So a lot of guys are getting mountain bikes. Like I've seen clips of Dennis riding mountain bikes, like Corey Martinez, Seth Kimbrough, like
I ride all the bikes.
Christian Regal. There's a lot of dudes crossing over and dabbling in mountain bikes.
Yeah.
And I think behind the scenes too, there's a lot more of like the general enthusiasts too that are like, you know, grew up in BMX and they're still riding BMX, but they're like, I want to buy this mountain bike and try it too.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, that's been Darren Bearclaw.
Totally.
You know, like like that, Nikolai Rogatin, like that has been going on for since BMX has ever been anything. You know, what's the racer guy? Lopes.
Oh yeah,
He was
Brian
a
Lopes,
mountain bike dude or a BMX dude that was like
Yeah.
mountain bike.
I think it's
champion
good too.
Yeah,
a lot,
for
of, lot of
years,
guys
you know,
my age
so-
and in their 30s, they'll get a mountain bike and then they start riding that, and then it brings them back to why BMX is so fun. Then all of a sudden you see them with a super fresh BMX bike.
Yeah,
I've seen that happen a lot in the last couple of years. Like they get into mountain biking and they're like, damn, and it sparks them up to remember.
Yeah.
Whoa, BMX was this. Why don't I just dial in my BMX bike too? So I see the industries working together
Yeah.
really well.
So you know that first video that you showed with the Section 8 stuff?
Mhm.
So Jay Loychek, the dude who made that video, that whole group of friends, like they all started riding mountain bikes. And when they started riding mountain bikes, they all went back and got BMX bikes again.
Yeah.
So they're
Seen that
like,
happen.
I have an Ohio group text that has like 10 or 12 people in it. And every year we meet up somewhere. Like this year, everyone came to California. We went to Big Bear for 4 days and got an Airbnb.
Fuck yeah.
And we just rode mountain bikes the whole time.
Yeah.
And like when I go back to Ohio, it's like BMX and mountain bikes like the whole trip.
Yeah.
So it's been cool. It's like really cool to revive people that were like, especially friends, you know, that were like haven't touched their BMX bike in so long because they're just like either beat up by it or burn out on it
Yeah.
or whatever the case is. And they pick up the mountain bike and they're feeling better. They're getting more agile. They're feeling fit again. Like they're dropping some pounds.
Yeah.
And then they're like, next thing you know, they're at raising the wheel mill and they're on BMX bikes killing it.
Oh yeah.
And they're buying dirt jumpers too, like kind of like a hybrid of a BMX and a mountain bike,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's cool. I enjoy that aspect of it too. It's really cool seeing the positive, like kind of making more people aware of mountain bikes and what they are and how much fun you can have on them. And I guess it's like, I don't really like the term influencing, but it really is like you're influencing people to pick up bikes and just ride them, you know?
Yeah.
I'm surprised there's not more brands like Haro that make everything, because there's a lot of like high-end mountain bike brands that just make all the mountain bikes, and then high-end BMX brands like Fit and Colt that just make
BMX
bikes.
Right.
How come there's not like you know, like Haro, they're like good at making everything, but there's not really any other brands that have like every bike from BMX to electric bikes. I feel like those brands would take over.
Yeah.
Like if there was
you
like
can
10 of
see it
those.
a little bit, like I think
Like why doesn't
S&M
Trek have BMX? They're so big and
Well,
powerful.
I mean-
Why not get a like nice
someone
BMX
else,
team
they
going?
make like the 29-inch wheelie bikes that became real popular
Yeah,
through SE.
Yeah, so they're
like,
doing
you
that.
see
So
a lot of brands that are starting to do that. And
I guess you need to do that. You need somebody like, it'd almost be easier for like a Trek or something to hire BMX guys to make their BMX line amazing too, rather
Right,
than
yeah.
like someone who's BMX only to be like, okay, we're going to step into mountain biking.
totally. And on the
Well, I guess
on
you just
the-
hire mountain bike guys and
on the retrospective of it, yeah, it's like maybe it's not so cost effective for a BMX guy to hire a mountain bike engineer to. And would it sell?
I'm
You
sure
know
it's.
what I mean?
I'm sure they have fucking catalog mountain bikes too, just like
Yeah,
they have
probably,
catalog BMX
yeah.
bikes. But yeah, I mean,
But you
I
know
think,
my question, like why isn't like all these dope mountain bike brands?
Well,
Because they could. BMX is just another bike. Like how come not? add
times
that?
have changed. I feel like we, like this is a kind of a silly analogy, but when you see the kid that's like good at skating, and then you're like, he jumps on a bike and he's good at riding bikes, and then he gets on a scooter, like where before it was like when we grew up, or it was specifically when I grew up, it was like I ride BMX, fuck you, I ride skateboard, fuck you, like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
type of thing where like the lines are blurred. So when
Yeah, my generation, everybody did everything.
Yeah,
like
and
every
it's like
kid could skate and ride. and
the people that
rollerblade
own
and
brands are
scooter.
like, we're a BMX company, and the mountain bike in the back when Trek did try and do a BMX company, they were like, you're a mountain bike company, fuck you.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like I think it would work better now than it did back then. I feel
It's
like
like almost
people would be
BMXers are
more
going into
accepting.
mountain biking to make a little mountain bike check because they're so good at bikes. And it's
Yeah.
like, fuck, why can't they have like BMX attached to that too? It's
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like Brad and some of these guys
Well, I mean,
who stepped
when-
over to mountain biking, but it's like,
Did Mueller say it in the podcast, the original one, or is it after the fact? But he said
I guess that'd fuck up
he was
the
like,
BMX
I don't
industry
even
a
know
little
who I don't even know who
the
Brad
core companies.
Yeah, I don't know who Brad rides for. I'm dumb, but
Canyon.
Canyon.
wasn't
That
gonna say it.
Mueller was gonna say, Mueller was saying that he's like, I wouldn't be surprised if they do BMX bikes.
Yeah.
I've heard that they're gonna
Yeah.
start doing BMX bikes.
Well,
So
I hate to say it, but they have such high-end engineers and shit. It could fucking finally get us some nice disc brakes on the inside of hubs and Bluetooth shit going on. Like,
Bluetooth.
dude, when you ride a mountain bike, you're like,
Fucking
what the
Bluetooth.
fuck?
There is some Bluetooth
BMX
stuff on
bikes.
mountain bikes, yeah.
BMX bikes feel like well,
Brake by fucking wireless?
No.
Yeah,
it's
they shift brakeless,
wireless,
dude.
Oh, they shift
brakeless.
but
yeah.
not brakes.
And wireless
brakes yet?
dropper posts too.
Do they
no,
do?
Not brakes.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That would be sketchy.
That'd be sick.
I'd be
Cars
scared.
drive on their own.
True.
They're drive-by-wire. They're not wireless. Well, they may be.
I will
You take
say
your
though,
hands
for
and feet
how
off, and that thing knows
accurate
how to
like
stay in
a
the lanes.
Bluetooth like
You can make
dropper or Bluetooth or like shifting is, like the brakes would probably work.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could just feather them though, you know?
Yeah.
If it's on or off, like
Yeah,
we're
who knows?
stopping.
You break. You pull really hard and you break the wireless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was
I'm just saying, like bikes, like
I snapped my wireless cable.
bikes are
I'm glad you
definitely
got the
high
joke.
end, but little
No, I
engineering.
mean, I think
they could still
I
be
do think
progressing.
there's room for overlap for sure, and I do want to see both industries survive, and I feel
They
like
always
you know,
will.
like and that's where my
I know what you're saying,
yeah,
but industries always will survive because people love them.
Yeah.
Like if
And I love
nobody
them.
loves them, they're going to
No.
be dead. But there will always be people that love all of these industries.
But as for, it seems like your transition to mountain bikes and you're still, you put a line in it, which is cool, is your choice, of course. But like, I think it's cool when it's like a natural thing, like not like I'm quitting BMX to be a mountain biker now, like where you're like, I'm just riding fucking bikes and I get picked up.
That's one of the main things that I was, I don't want to say like annoyed with, but when I didn't plan to like pick up a mountain bike and start a career.
Yeah.
Like I literally bought a mountain bike because I was going on these rides with my friends and it was an awesome social thing and it was fun. Like, again, going back to me loving the process, like it checks all the boxes, right? But I did an interview with Pink Bike a few years ago and like the headline was like, Anthony Napolitan and his like move to the way I can't remember what it was.
Anthony Napolitan sells his Dew Cup for a mountain bike.
Like the way he worded it.
For a loan on a mountain bike.
I can't remember what it was, but the way he worded it, it made it sound like I was quitting BMX.
Yeah.
So I was like,
yo,
text the dude like immediately, like, yo, you need to reword that. Like I'm getting all these texts. People are asking me why I quit BMX, you know?
Yeah.
He's like, oh shit. And he like fixed it, you know? But that's like one of the main things. Like people will be like, oh yeah, like saw whatever. I don't even know how they word it because I try and ignore it a lot. But I'm like, hey, no, like I rode BMX like yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
And
I'm literally texting you from the trails right
yeah,
now.
exactly. Like, send a photo. I'm like, on my BMX bike, you know? So it's not that I'm choosing one or the other. Like I'm just riding more bikes. I'm like, as far as like time on like saddle time, like I've probably triple or quadrupled my time like during the week riding bikes.
Yeah.
As to where like maybe I was only riding for a few hours in the evening on my BMX. Now I'm riding almost virtually all day long.
That's crazy.
Which is, I don't know, it's fun to me. But
Yeah, that's
you know
awesome.
what I mean?
Yeah, I'm jealous. Honestly. Yeah,
So-
that's amazing.
Yeah. So,
Another Anthony chapter.
Is it?
You've
Yeah,
done it
is.
again.
No,
It
I
is.
mean, and dude, anybody that can extend their career by doing something that they love or that they enjoy, like more fucking power to them.
Yeah.
Like no shots at anybody for doing something that they think is good for them.
Yeah.
Like and monetarily, physically, whatever, you know,
Right,
like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
like all the support in the world. So it's
Because even I'm sure shooting like those mountain bikes events, it's not like shooting BMX, but you're probably like, this
no,
is still sick.
I'm fucking horrible at
But
it.
it's still-
Honestly,
no,
I'm
I'm
being.
saying, but you probably go to them and it's way better than shooting a wedding.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah,
it's like,
I've never.
hell
Yeah,
it's
I will
like
never.
bike still. Like,
Yeah.
Dude, fucking
Yeah.
1 foot in the grave if I have to shoot a wedding. Like, I've always said like
And that ain't even the worst thing to shoot, you know what I'm saying?
No,
but like
yeah.
as far as like if you had to shoot another thing, it's like hell yeah, like I get to go to a mountain bike event,
No,
still be bike riders.
One of the only I went to. I can never remember the name, but during Ratitudes, I shot the Bazanzin episode in Colorado or something.
Oh yeah, you
wouldn't-
went to like a Colorado bike festival or something
With the
slope style.
slope style.
Yeah,
event.
yeah. I
And it
remember
was
that.
it was pretty fucking wild. It was cool.
Yeah.
You know, like it was like kind of like a Bizarro.
I officially have to bounce.
Yeah.
That was great.
Thank you, Dennis.
Keep going.
Dennis
Yeah, we're
always
gonna
leaves the
keep going.
podcast.
It's the second
I
time I've
know.
ever
Dennis-
left the
Dennis
podcast. Really.
always-
Yeah, he
Always-
left the Mueller one.
He always
Yeah, if we
leaves
do
the
that, all right,
podcast.
I'll drink beer here all night. This is the middle of the fucking day, guys. I'm out.
I almost brought a White Claw in instead of that.
Yeah, right.
I love it.
But it was
I love you, Dennis.
soon.
it was funny because it was like Bizarro BMX. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that guy kind of looks like the other guy over there, but he's not him. You know, it's like everybody's just like
And then
kind of
you were
wonky versions of everybody else.
And then you're
it's
like, oh wait, no, that's actually Josh Holt.
well, yeah, that actually was Josh Holt was there. But like, you know, like that fucking the monster dude that's like English. It's like he like looks like he's fucking acting like he's like Mark Webb. Like you know, like
oh my God,
Sam.
Yeah, Sam. Yeah.
You know, like I'm like
Sam
fucking
Pilgrim.
there's Bizarro Mark Webb right there. You know, like in a sense, like just like hanging about,
Yeah,
like you
there's
know,
lots
like
of characters.
boisterous and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's you know, it's there's so many parallels between it
Totally,
and stuff
yeah.
like that. And it's cool. And I've always been down for people to do what they want, of course, you know, and I'm psyched for you and
Thank you.
all that. So is there anything
I will say one of the most enjoyable parts about it is the scheduling for everything. Like there's so much stuff going on in mountain biking.
Yeah.
Every month I'm off somewhere in a different state in a remote location where there's thousands of people gathered for a bike festival.
Yeah.
And like all the brands are there with their tents and they're doing their thing and we're all going out and creating content, riding these different trails and visiting these like legendary mountain bike features or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
I think that thing's blinking.
That's probably not good.
Sorry, camera
Bullshit.
malfunctions. Yeah. Hopefully it didn't lose me too much there, but if they're 2.5 hours in, they're sticking with, so we're good.
Right.
But,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was a cool event. It was crazy, you know, like the crowd went nuts for Nyquist,
Yeah.
you know, like Nyquist was
Of
there
course.
and like the level of riding's nuts. And it was like, you know, there was part of me where I was like, it's kind of like fucking Redbull Empire of Dirt, you know, like I'm like,
Right, yeah.
like it's like,
It's
oh
pretty
man,
similar,
like,
yeah.
you know, like,
Mhm.
and it's just like, I'm such a fan of BMX. I'm like, yeah, it's like, but I can't blame you because it's fucking bigger and better, you know, like
Yeah,
because you have suspension and it is what it is. But like those, you know, the bike and, you know, when we had Semenok on, he was like, I am effectively, I'm not quoting him, but he said like, I am the F1 car
Yeah.
to sell the fucking Priuses,
Right.
you know, like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so it's like,
Yeah.
it's so like unobtainable for so many different people,
Yeah.
but it's like the show pony, I guess,
Totally.
you know, to sell
Yeah.
other stuff. So, I think it's, you know, it's cool, you know, more shit is better, but, and it's cool to be involved occasionally and at least not like be, I don't search it out, but it's cool to like get to witness some of that stuff and
Totally.
and you know, make me eat my words, I guess is what I'm looking for right there.
What we need to do. So I don't know if you saw the bike that I brought into your foyer there.
It's an e-bike,
It's
right?
an e-bike. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the YT Decoy.
Yeah.
And the one that I brought in is a Core 4, so that means it's their top of the line. It's got like, you know, all the shiny rims, the nice big Porsche brakes on it, or Brembo, or whatever you like. You
Are
know.
they actually Brembo?
No.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. A fucking six piston.
Actually,
Yeah.
though, the brakes that are on it, so it comes stock with a different brand of bike, and I change a lot of the stuff that comes stock. I literally build the bikes right out of the box.
Okay.
And then I change a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
So, because I have the support through Profile Racing, so
Yeah.
I'm building wheel sets with them. And then I ride for another company called Deity Components.
Mhm.
Sorry. And usually I'm using like their stem and bars and seat and some other miscellaneous stuff for the bike. But for the brakes on that, they're actually a brand called TRP Components,
Mhm.
and it's Tektro Racing Products.
Okay.
Full circle.
Like Tektro.
Tektro.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
That took me a second.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is crazy.
I forever out, and they're awesome. They're, in my opinion, one of the best brakes on the market. They feel, some brakes are like if you tap them, you're skidding.
Yeah.
You know.
The Pink Bike's about to post like Anthony Napolitan quits Tektro for Pitbull brakes.
Yes, yes, that'd be crazy. So with the TRPs, I can modulate. Like if I want to feather the brake, I can feather the brake.
That's cool.
It won't be
Yeah.
a skid or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I thought that was really crazy because it was like, holy crap, I had Tektros on like my Schwinn when I grew up.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean?
funny.
Like Tektro 990s or V brakes or whatever. You know, it's like holy crap.
I was doing some shoot and I mean, it was just a bike shoot, like literally shit for like Dick's Sporting Goods or something like that. But a dude brought like one of those full suspension e-bike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a pedal. I think it was a pedal assist one.
Okay, yeah.
But it was like you could just fucking
you can
ride up curbs, ride up stairs,
Yeah.
you know, like I was on it, and I was like, I need
Yeah.
to get off of this thing before I fucking break it, and I owe him like $1,500 or you know, like one of those things. But it was like, I was like, this thing's insane. You can just ride over bushes.
Yeah.
You know, like
So my YT Decoy, it's a class 1 e-bike. So it's just pedal assist, and then it has different modes. It's like eco, trail, boost, and I think it has a walk mode also.
what does that mean? I'm
so
dumb.
basically, if you have to like hike up a hill or something that you can't climb with your bike, you put it in walk mode, and it like, because you're not on the pedals pedaling, it helps you push it up the hill.
Yeah.
Because they're heavy, dude.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They're like old school BMX
That's crazy.
bikes. They're really heavy.
It's funny when we did the Seminole one, there's all these comments like, just like, stop interrupting him with your dumb fucking questions. Like, and I'm like, I don't know anything. I don't know what he's talking about. So I have to ask if you want me to continue the conversation.
Well, what I was saying about the e-bike is like, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to bring that e-bike and I'm going to bring my normal pedal e-bike and we're going to go behind your house where those trails are. And I'm taking you on a ride. And then you're going to come back and we're going to sit down and do another podcast. And you're going to be like, fuck, that was fun.
Oh God, if I'm not bleeding from my face. So
we'll get you sorted. I'll get you a full face. We'll make sure you're protected.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, again, I love how busy I can stay.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
I fill a lot of my schedule. It's the beginning of the year for me because like I'm a dirt jumper, man. Like I just want to ride the triple challenge, and then whatever other dirt events come into play. You know, I just want to be a part of dirt, really. So I'll plan the first like quarter of my year, you know, with that stuff and then mountain bike stuff in between. And then what happened last year was mountain bike basically took over after the triple challenge ended. It was like bike festivals, and YT does this thing called the Rolling Circus where they have a full demo fleet and they visit different lift resorts like around the country. So for instance, they'll go up to Big Bear at Snow Summit and they'll set up their booth and they'll have a variety of their bikes and they just demo them. So people can literally go grab the bike and go ride it and see if they like it.
Yeah.
You know,
that's cool.
And they do that out of San Clemente too. They have the headquarters is in San Clemente and they have what's called the YT Mill. And same thing, you can just go online and reserve a bike any day of the week that they're open. So I think they're closed like 2 days of the week or something, but you can reserve the bike and try it out. And if you love it, like you might buy it, you know?
That's crazy.
There's a lot of people like, because mountain biking is such a big investment, there's a lot of like bike shops do demo rentals and everything. So a lot of people, like if they're interested in buying a bike, they'll spend like $1,000 collectively going to 5 different bike shops to demo certain model bikes from certain companies. And then they'll be like, all right, I'm going to buy this. I like this one the best. I'm going to buy this. You know?
That makes sense. It's like a car. I mean, it's some are more expensive than cars.
Exactly.
So
yeah, they really are.
How much is the e-bike out there?
Yeah. Man, they can get pricey. Yeah. I
luckily don't know is what you're saying.
I don't know. The Core 4 Decoy, I believe, is in between the $8,000 and $9,000 range.
Oh wow!
So it's expensive, and especially if
I see why you wanted to bring it in now.
Yeah, I didn't want to leave it on the rack in the street. Your neighborhood looks amazing, but you never know. Someone might be like, "Oh, I know what that's worth."
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, it's a fun lifestyle for sure. I really love how inviting the mountain bike community is too.
Yeah.
And because of my BMX background, it's been a really cool experience because I went to Whistler for Crankworks Joyride, and I did Speed and Style, which is actually something that I think is like right up my alley, and I don't know why I didn't see it before, but it's a combination of head-to-head racing like dual slalom, but there's a certain amount of jumps on the course, like wooden lips to big dirt landings. So you're racing, but you also have to put down heavy tricks.
Yeah.
and it's a really cool event. But
the monster did it in Vegas, I think it was.
Yeah.
It was really it was cool. It was
Yeah.
fun. It kind of took the pressure off of
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't need to like go nuts.
Yeah,
right
very
now.
similar event. Yeah, almost the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, except for like the
monster. Sean it comes
Right.
from a mountain bike background, so that's
Yeah,
sort of-
exactly.
He copied it.
So that was anyways, that event was really great, but I got to meet this other rider named Thomas Lemoyne,
Mhm.
and he's a French rider, and he is good.
I think I've seen a couple stuff.
He's so good. He is always in the running for King of Crankworks, which is a points thing, but
Yeah.
King of Crankworks is like, you know how Do Tour, it's like Anthony won dirt and Nyquist won park and Jamie won vert, right? So King and Queen of Crankworks is a collective points from all events. So if in Thomas Lemoyne, he will ride like pump track, speed and style, slope style, dual slalom, and he's good at all of them. And he just racks in the points all year long.
Oh, crazy.
So by the time he usually wins King of Crankworks.
Crazy.
And I think, there's always a couple riders in the running, but anyways,
you said Queen. Do they have? Is it slope style women's stuff?
That's the only thing they don't do for women is slope style, but they do speed and style for women. Right, so it's like there's a freestyle aspect for them as well that race.
That'd just be batshit crazy.
Yeah,
this shit is nuts. So
yeah. And there's some just like BMX, there are some ladies out there pushing it, especially in the free riding area, which is
of course the only one I know is Buchanan.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because she kills it.
I'm so BMX to a fault.
But, free riding is also another aspect that I really like. That's a different story. Back to Tom. I don't want to cross up stuff. But I'm a big fan of Thomas Lemoyne. So I went up. I was like, hey, man, my name's Anthony Napolitan. Like, huge fan. I just wanted to introduce myself and say what's up,
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, I saw your name on the back of your jersey. He's like, I just didn't know if it was you. Like he's like, I grew up riding BMX and like you were an inspiration and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy crap. Like I inspired this dude that is like hands down one of the sickest mountain bike riders on the planet.
That's awesome.
So it's been really cool. Like meeting all these people,
Yeah.
we used to do this BMX event in Germany called Big in Bavaria. And it was a mix of BMX guys riding. They were just dirt jumps, like roll in 3 or 4 jumps in a row.
Yeah.
And bunch of us BMXers went there. We competed against each other, and then they had dirt jump guys there too on the mountain bike side on 26s. And that was like a big introduction to a lot of those guys. So we've always kind of crossed paths over the years and stuff. So it's been cool, like traveling everywhere and seeing everyone and like getting reacquainted and meeting new people. And it's just a really cool community. And
that's awesome.
I'm not taking anything away from BMX because I have had the same experiences across the board in BMX too.
For sure.
But just like anything else new, it's exciting.
Yeah, I see that happen to a lot of people. It's like when they get on a mountain bike, you're like, this is so much fun, and it's because it's new and it is exciting. And then after you've been, I'm sure when you look 15 years down the road riding mountain bikes, you're like, that's not so exciting anymore. That's what BMX does. Like it's the same for anybody. It makes perfect sense. So
it is a really nice balance though, riding both of them. It keeps me equally motivated for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I had to have like a carpal tunnel surgery on my right hand because literally I'd wake up in the middle of the night and my hand is like needles and pins, like in pain.
Yeah.
So I got that fixed, and having that time off for like the nerve to heal and everything has also been motivating with all that too. I'm like real fired up to get into the first free ride event for Free Ride Fiesta, which is it's just outside of Guadalajara, Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in this like little town called it's outside of this town, but we stay in this place called Ajiqui. And it
sounds like a steak or something.
I know, right?
It's like a seasoning.
It borders, or it's next to like the biggest lake in Mexico, which is kind of cool. So the dude that puts on the event, his parents have a place there, and it's like just a really cool setup. But it's like a Fest Series style event, so big jumps, fast, flowy,
Cool.
and no pressure, and just a bunch of people having fun.
Oh yeah.
So, but I'm also really fired up. It's funny because everything, like, I don't know why it does this, but everything piles into January, you know? So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
I go to Free Ride Fiesta like mid-January, and then I'm like gonna come home and like lock the mountain bikes up and get on the BMX and just like get ready for Triple Challenge,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Well, I think we'll cut it there.
Yeah.
3-hour mark. I don't know how long.
Dang.
Yeah. So.
Well, after
But-
the 20 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, that wasn't 20 minutes.
I
It was,
know.
it was like 10 minutes of bullshit in the beginning, though. So,
Yeah.
but thank you so much for coming. I will wrap it up because Dennis is gone.
Bye, Dennis.
So,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming. If you want to plug your list of muck off, Wiener
Not them
Schnitzel.
anymore. Not
No,
them
they're
anymore.
done. All
Yeah,
right,
they're
Wiener
done.
Schnitzel.
No, they're not there anymore either.
Fuck.
Oh man, you're really.
Hold on.
Didn't you
shit.
do your research?
No, I'm
before
kind of
this?
joking
Well,
right
where's
now.
my
I'm
Instagram?
kind of taking the piss out of you, honestly.
Come on, we established they come and go.
Redbull?
Yeah, definitely.
No,
man.
I'm serious. Thank all the people that support you because there is a good list. Like I know
Yeah.
Colony, ODI, they are the
Yeah.
ones that support us.
Yep.
And support you. So that's
Totally,
always
yeah.
I give them extra points.
Yeah, and getting back to that too, with like the sponsorship list, I've kind of purposely made an attempt to take a lot of the sponsors that I rode for in BMXing and like merge those two relationships with the different aspects,
Yeah.
you know? So like ODI, they make grips for both versions, you know, of bike, Profile Racing, Maxxis Tires, you know, YT's on its own, obviously, but, mountain biking has also opened the doors for more sponsors too.
Yeah.
So I brought 510 into the sponsor list now.
Nice.
So I've got them on both bikes.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, on the BMX side and the mountain bike side.
That's cool.
And then like going to places like Sea Otter, like again, I'm a pretty open person, so I just walk up to brands and introduce myself, you know. But potentially there's a new thing in the work. Have you ever heard of Waterloo, sparkling water?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, like I might have a deal with a
Sponsor the podcast.
sparkling water company. So,
Hell yeah, that's what's up. You
Yeah.
better get rid of that fucking yerba then. Don't blow it.
I know. I meant to bring some down with me, but I was in a rush this morning. I was actually looking. I was like, oh, maybe they have it at this Chevron, but they didn't.
Nah.
So.
All right, cool.
But yeah,
sorry.
no, I was just gonna say big shout out, thank you, YT Industries for all the support, because on the mountain bike side they do a ton for me, and I'm very grateful for that. So it's pretty awesome getting to expand my horizons and kind of make people aware and display the fun that all bikes can provide.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Anthony. I'll do he doesn't do it anymore, but I'll do it.
There it is. I appreciate it, man. Stoked to be on the Unclicked podcast. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Wait, can you fart on command for me?
Did Morgan tell you that?
I've seen you do it.
That's Morgan's favorite thing.